3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. And you could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That is ZACHGELB. Ryan Hot Take Hickey He's our biggest guest today, of course. He'll join us in studio at the top of the hour. Dont'e Thornton, who is the rookie wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was drafted the 4th round. He's going to stop by at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in studio at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the Hall of Fame safety in Leroy Butler, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. So a very busy show today. You know, it's never good when you have a great game and you're talking about an issue after the game. And what happened last night between the Bucks and the Pacers, it was disgraceful. It really was. So the Milwaukee Bucks, let's start off with their disaster of a situation to begin with first. That team, I am seriously concerned about the future of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, if you know my history with Milwaukee and my history with the Bucks organization, I have been thanked before in the past by the Milwaukee Bucks for how loud I was and also how adamant I was that Giannis Antetokounmpo should stay in Milwaukee at the time, sign that Supermax. And I didn't like the NBA saying that the Bucks were tampering over, I think it was Bogdanovich or something like that, and he went to Atlanta. And I went on a rant, right? And I said, it's ridiculous. You got a big-time player in a small market. People say he can't win a championship, and everyone's trying to get him out. So for the last several years, I've sat here, and I have vigorously defended the Milwaukee Bucks, and I've sat here and I've said Giannis Antetokounmpo is not going to be leaving. Now, I can't sit here with that same energy, and I can't guarantee you, to the great listeners in Milwaukee, and the people that are Bucks fans that tune into this show still to this day, that Giannis should stay there. And Giannis will stay there. He's got 2 years left on his contract before there's a player option. So 2 more years, then the third would be a player option. And you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo in the past, everything he's done has been, hey, Milwaukee, go put me in a situation where I could win. And it's all about winning. And he has given this organization, with Peter Fagan and John Horst, who are 2 tremendous executives. Peter Fagan, the president of the Bucks, and John Horst, the general manager, just got a new extension. He's given them every opportunity to give him a reason to stay, right? There was a good pairing initially with Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo. They won a championship. Last few years, things got away, right? Injuries. They made a move to bring in Doc Rivers. I didn't really understand that, if I'm being honest. And then the big move they made was, okay, let's go get Damian Lillard. And unfortunately, Dame Dollar Time has been injured, whether it was the blood clots or now an Achilles. And if I'm Giannis, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, all right, I probably want to have Dame Lillard next year. And if he's able to return, how much elevation, how much jump is he going to have that late in his career when his Achilles just got blown out? And you already went all in to go get Damian Lillard. So I got 2 years left on my contract before a player option. Maybe he starts to explore going elsewhere. Because I don't think there's an immediate fix. I think the Bucks have already tried to fix themselves after winning a championship, where the Bucks and Giannis winning another championship or winning a championship there was probably the apex. And if Giannis wants to win another title, it probably behooves him to go somewhere else. But we can continue that conversation. Let's get back to last night. Giannis did everything he could, right? You can't blame Giannis for this series. And I picked the Pacers going in. I didn't think this thing would be over, though, in 5 games. But this ended last night with the Milwaukee Bucks up 7 points with about 35, 36 seconds left in overtime. They're up 7. And they gagged the game away. And Indiana wins, and the Pacers are now off to the second round where they'll go up against the Cavs. But what happens after the game, if that's the way that Giannis goes out of Milwaukee, and let's say that's the final game Giannis plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, for a guy that has done everything right, for a guy that is a consummate professional, for a guy that has won MVPs, for a guy that brought a championship to Milwaukee, for a guy that is very easy to root for, even if you're not a Bucks fan, it's a very bizarre sad, and kind of depressing ending. Now, there's two incidents that occurred in the game last night, after the game last night. One is not Giannis's fault. The other one, I thought it was. So let's explain first, or try to explain the one that was his fault. After the game, right, Giannis has so much clout in this league. And as you see multiple times, right, a player loses and they're dapping each other up and all that jazz. So all the Pacers players are going to shake hands with Giannis Antetokounmpo after, even though it was a quick series, it was a physical series between the Bucks and the Pacers. So as Giannis is shaking hands, he goes and looks like he's just having a conversation with Benedict Mathurin. Now, I don't know what was said. I don't know if Benedict Mathurin disrespected Giannis Antetokounmpo or if Giannis Antetokounmpo disrespected Benedict Mathurin. But in doing so, at first it just looked like an innocuous hug, like they were having a moment. But Giannis puts his hand on like the neck of Benedict Mathurin. And it looks like he's just bringing him in to have a conversation. But clearly, whatever was said, then Benedict Mathurin didn't like the position of Giannis's hand, and they start shoving. But you know what's wild? No one's talking about this incident. Like, I came in here today and I go, did anyone see the bizarre situation between Giannis and Benedict Mathurin? They mean, no, you mean Giannis and Tyrese Haliburton's father. I like, no, guys. I understand I had quite a few whiskey gingers last night at the Knicks Pistons game, which we'll get into the Knicks in just a bit. But I know what I saw. And there were two incidents. Now, it wasn't the most viral one, but the one that went viral was so big that no one's talking about the pushing and shoving that was going on between Giannis and the Pacers after the game. So I didn't think, without knowing what was said, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I said, Samter, and I'm going to trust Mike here, look through all the press conference and see if anyone asked him about it. No one asked about him. And I even went down the hall to the guys at the Fan, and I was talking to Evan Roberts for the show, and we're talking about Haliburton's dad. I go, did you also see the Giannis-Benedict Mathurin situation? He's like, no. So that was just one that was not talked about, but I saw it all over social media. So I didn't think Giannis looked good there. But, all right, you have a little pushing and shoving between players after a game. It happens. What transpired with Tyrese Haliburton's father and Giannis Antetokounmpo, I've never seen anything like it. I have seen, right, players' fathers or players' mothers be a part of the story, be a part of the issue, be part of the conversation. But I have never seen what really transpired between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Tyrese Haliburton's father. And it is so clear and obvious what did go on, and it shouldn't have ever happened. First off, I'll just ask this question. I understand Tyrese Haliburton, his dad is not a regular fan, right? You're the father of the star player of the Indiana Pacers who just hit the game-winning layup to give his son's team a victory and advance to the next round of the playoffs. So you probably have a little bit of some perks, and I don't want to say like free reign, but I think the security and people know Tyrese Haliburton's father, right? Probably goes to a lot of games. But after the game, I can't recall, unless if a player's father is on the staff or unless if he's in the front office, and it's not as if you won a championship where then all the players' families go on the court, right? And afterwards, they go with the hat and T-shirts and the confetti and they take photos as a family. I get that. It's after a first round series victory. And the dad just able, as the game is ending, final horn, Pacers win. The dad is immediately on the court. Was it Masai Ujiri when he was with the Raptors? And it still is, and they won a championship. I remember there being some issue of him getting on the court. There has been things before where the general manager of a team that has won a championship has struggled to get on a court. Now, remember, what was it? There was something recent. It was Hakeem Olajuwon. When the Houston Cougars were having success in the NCAA tournament, they wouldn't even let him on the court. But Tyrese Haliburton's dad, immediately on the court. All right, maybe no security guards, right? He goes to the game, all that stuff. Possibility. I'm not going to sit here and dismiss that. But he's allowed to go on the court with a flag of his son, right? It's one thing if you just go on the court, you celebrate and you're running around, you dap up your son, hug him, innocuous moment. But Tyrese Haliburton's father, I think his name is John. Like, we should not know his father's name. Let's be the father of Tyrese Haliburton. We should know his name. But John Haliburton last night wanted to be the story. And I get it. You're excited. Your son just had a big moment. Your son, which is ridiculous, was voted as the most overrated player in the league, and he's not. He's a good player. He just had a big moment for the franchise. So you're pumped up. But for you to think it's a good idea to have a flag and stand right in front of Giannis Antetokounmpo as he's in a low moment where this could be Giannis's final game with the Milwaukee Bucks, and clearly he did everything he could, and the team around him is not great, and he is clearly annoyed. You think it's a good idea to go taunt, because that's what he did, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's jackassery. It's hogwash. It's nonsense. And Giannis, good for him only going nose to nose with John Haliburton. Because quite frankly, and I know he would have been suspended next year, I know he would have been fine, I would have had no problem if Giannis Antetokounmpo would have swung and knocked out Haliburton's father. And no, I don't advocate for elderly abuse, but I would have had no problem with that last night. Because the dad wanted to be a part of the story. The dad wanted to act like he was some drunk, boneheaded fan. You're the father of the star player. Go celebrate with your kid. Go celebrate with your family. Don't just go celebrate and taunt one of the best players in the league. And you're lucky he didn't knock your ass out. That was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I'm still mystified by it. I thought it was AI. I didn't think it was real. But that's what the father of Tyrese Haliburton did last night. You know what the shame about it is? No one's giving Tyrese Haliburton his flowers today. No one's saying, guy voted most overrated player in the league, just knocked the Bucks out of the playoffs. Oh, look at the comeback that he led. Oh, look at the way that he won that game at the end. No one's saying that. And he handled it the right way after the game, Tyrese. Yeah, I don't agree with my father did. But no one's given praise to Tyrese Haliburton today because they're talking about his jackass of a father. That's what they're doing. They're talking about his dopey father, and the father took the moment away from the son. And that's a shame. So the Pacers sit there, they go, Tyrese Haliburton doesn't get enough credit. This is the moment for him to get credit. This is the moment for us to be talking about him today. But we're talking about his dopey father. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's the reaction to the whole Pacers Bucks series that came to a close. And Indiana's a heck of a team. They'll probably lose to the Cavs. They got a chance to win. And we're probably on a collision course where it's going to be Cavs and Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Because I'll tell you this. I walked into the Garden last night. And my buddy Jeff, who brings me to the games, and wonderful guy, and he has season tickets right behind the bench. He goes to me, what percentage of chance would you give them up against Boston? And I said to him, I would pick Celtics in 6. And I would say about like a 10 to 15% chance that the Knicks can win the series. And last night, why it was so important for the Knicks is because they're banged up. Jalen Brunson, it's amazing how he could still stand on those ankles. Josh Hart got hurt last night. So if you could close the Pistons out in 5 and don't have to go to a game 6 or maybe a game 7, you could get your guys a little bit rested up a little bit. And also, you can allow the people that are skeptical to to say, okay, even though those games were close, they take care of the Pistons in 5. They took care of business early. Let's see if they can have a big effort and go take care of Boston. And maybe Boston has a moment that was previous to last year where they come up short in the postseason. But after failing to get the job done last night, where finally Jalen Brunson didn't have a great game, and the injuries caught up to him, and I know Mikal Bridges led the team in scoring in the fourth quarter, but he needs to be better with what they gave up to get him. Cat wasn't sensational last night. You have the coach who can't instruct his team to foul or use a timeout, and you got Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart standing about 5 feet from me trying to check back into the game because they're injured. It's like last night, if you were an optimistic Knicks fan that thought, oh, maybe there's a little chance that they could beat the Celtics, that went right out the window. It did. The Celtics are going to beat them. And I would say going into that series, if the Knicks do advance going into last night, I would have said Celtics in 6. Now I would say Celtics in 5. Jalen Brunson will win him a game. But I don't think they're going to win multiple games in that series if it does happen. Because if the Knicks don't take care of business in Game 6 in Detroit, I don't think the Pistons are going to be afraid of the moment coming into the Garden for Game 7. So the NBA postseason has been fun. I think they're allowing these guys to play. And it feels like 90s basketball. I think the product has been really good. The Eastern Conference, I do believe that we're going to see Cavs and Celtics ultimately in the conference finals. And out west, it's who's going to find a way to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And can anyone? Now, if the Lakers don't win 3 games, they're done. A lot of people are going to jump back in on Anthony Edwards with his killer instinct. Denver winning last night, huge with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And we saw with Jamal Murray and his importance to that team if he could really get going. And we know what he's done in the past. And you look around, you still got Golden State, and you got Steph, Draymond rejuvenated with Jimmy Butler. But I would still say right now, when we get past the just dopey things that the father of Tyrese Haliburton did last night, if you look at it from a big picture, I would still venture to guess that we're going to see Thunder and Celtics in the NBA Finals. But it is clear that the Thunder, Celtics, and Cavs are the 3 best teams. I still think people doubt the Thunder and the Cavs just because they have not done it yet in the postseason. But you look at teams like the Timberwolves, like Denver, and you just wonder how far they could go as well. All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. What do you think about the future of Giannis Antetokounmpo? And also, when we return, Coach Prime, right? A lot of people thought, oh, wherever Shedeur gets drafted, maybe in a few years, Coach Prime goes and coaches his son in the NFL. Is that still on the table? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. It is the Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I'll go around the room here. Stu, I'll ask you first. Giannis Antetokounmpo, out of 100%, where would you say right now your percentage is that Giannis is back on the Milwaukee Bucks to start next season? 2 years left on the deal with then a player option after that. So really 3 years, but it could be only 2 years left on the contract.
I would say 33%.
That he's back in Milwaukee. Okay, so you lean more that he's going to get traded
This offseason, yes.
Can the Lakers find a way to get him? Mr. Laker over there still?
I would like that. I don't think so, though.
You didn't have to give up much to go get Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I guess you never know. They could trade Reeves and a bunch of picks.
And LeBron loves Giannis. We know that. He has made that abundantly clear.
I wouldn't hate that, but I think he'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. And then also you really set up life without LeBron James if you get Giannis Antetokounmpo, and also you already have Luka Doncic. I think the Heat will have to be players too, because you look at if Giannis is available, every team is going to try to go get him. Now, how many teams could actually go get him? That's a different topic of conversation. But I was just on in Miami before the start of the show, and they're sitting there, they're miserable as miserable could be. And I told them, Heat culture's dead. I said, it's time for Pat Riley to retire. He's 80. They're like, oh, what happens if they get KD and Giannis this offseason? I think you can do that. God bless you. I don't think you'll be able to get a deal done with the Suns and also the Bucks. Samter, where are you? By the way, I have to ask you a question, Samter.
Yikes.
what the heck happened to you the first 8 minutes of the show? You ran out of this studio like your pants were on fire, and it looked like you may have had a little issue. What happened?
There was definitely something going on in my pants.
You did you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Well, that chair, you never know.
I didn't pull a Marash.
In that area, you once had Sean Marash, goal number 2, little doo-doo in his underwear. What was that, in Billy Madison? I got doo-doo in my underwear. I think that's Billy Madison. But anyway, did you... I
made it.
You made it to the bathroom?
But barely.
1 or 2?
I mean, do we have to get that graphic?
Well, you were gone for a while, so I'm assuming it was a 2.
If I was gone that long for a 1, then call the doctor. But yeah, no, that was
Are you getting to that age where you can't control yourself?
No, I was able to make it.
We need to make sure you're wearing a diaper for this show.
Eventually, it might happen. I'm going to be honest. Depends should get a sponsorship from me at this point because it's getting there. I'm getting close.
Yeah, I just thought there was like a stream issue or something.
You know that moment when you're getting close to the bathroom and you're close to the toilet and like every millisecond counts?
Yeah.
And you're undoing your belt and you're undoing the button on your pants and the zipper. Every
Don't
single
get graphic
moment,
as Santa's describing the whole process here.
Every moment counts. And I was able to make every moment count. So I'm good.
I will say
that was close.
The giant burrito he has sitting next to him that's like the size of his head probably isn't helping at this point.
See, now 2 things. That is not false what Stu just said.
Can't help. It cannot be helping him now.
But also, I think Stu is like a little annoyed at me, if I'm being honest.
Uh-oh.
At you?
Yeah, I think you're annoyed at me.
Why?
Because I've highlighted the last few weeks how much food you have eaten. Whether it was at San Antonio.
Oh, no. That's fine.
Whether it's in Chicago. So I just felt like that was, hey, you talk about how much food I'm eating. Go look at Santa, who's down in a burrito as like the 4th meal since he walked in the building here today.
Well, I'll say this. I've heard of Pukin' Rally. That was a Poopin' Rally.
Jesus. You do eat a lot while you're here, though, Samter.
Yeah. So this is like a half a burrito. I had...
You eat
a half a sandwich.
You know what? It now kind of makes sense why you had to explosively run to the bathroom. Because there are things that you eat here that I go, like, how does he stomach what you're eating throughout the day? I'm not big, a lot of food before the show type of guy. Like today I thought was Boomer is filming his Game Time show, and he got catered in a bunch of sandwiches, and I had a little tuna sandwich because I need a little extra pick-me-up after a long night last night after having too many whiskey gingers at the Knicks game. But you, Samter, I went from working with the producer in Hickey, who eats like a 5-year-old, where it's pasta every night and chicken fingers and dino nuggets every night, to then Samter, who one day it's Mexican, one day it's barbecue, one day it's Italian. Your stomach, I think it's an empty pit, if I'm being honest.
I mean, this is why Stu and I get along so well, because we just love food. It's just the way it works. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for my ridiculous stomach. I will try not to sprint out of the studio again the next time.
I now question if your duties to do the job, if I'm being honest.
DUTIES, you mean, correct?
Yes. I wonder if you're capable of doing that. Like, you got to be here. The show's on the air. And you just run out and you miss the first 8 minutes. What happens if we had a major issue?
I will say, well, first of all, we have Stu here. Stu is the most capable,
as I said, what happens if we had a major issue?
Oh, come on.
If Stu had to go too, that could be a problem. I've been on the air before as a producer.
You know what
when
Stu
a
does
host
before
had to
the
run
show?
off in the middle of a show.
Wait, hold on. We'll get to that story and just say, you know what Stu does before the show? You think he's in the right state of mind all the time?
I mean, with the amount of munchies that this guy has to go through on a day-to-day basis, I'm surprised he makes it through a whole show.
Wait. You once produced a show where the host had to leave during the show? Now, was it during the final segment of the hour where there's a hard out?
It was not. It was at the top of the hour. It was at the Super Bowl on Radio Row.
Oh, my, in public?
In public.
Did he toss to a break or he just ran right off the set?
He luckily had a co-host whose name will be...
Oh, I know who this... was I at the Super Bowl?
You were at every Super Bowl. You were at the Super Bowl before I was born, and I'm older than you. That makes no sense.
Before Samter had facial hair, I was at the Super Bowl on Radio
I had
Row.
facial hair when I was 12 years old, so you weren't even born almost at that point.
Was this at one point from your Twitter header photo?
Yes.
That was a bathroom issue?
Yeah, so there was a picture of me
and
with
Tiki Barber.
And Tiki Barber sitting on the set at Radio Row, me co-hosting the segment.
BT had a little stomach issue?
He had a little stomach something.
In the middle of a segment on radio, he was gone for like 2 segments.
He was gone for at least a segment, and like for all of that segment, and I think he got back right at the beginning of the next segment.
Wow.
Yes. It wasn't like he left.
Food poisoning?
Say again?
Food poisoning?
Maybe, but I think it was
just
bad timing.
Oh, my God.
Bad timing.
I have not reached
It's never happened before or since, but that one moment was, happens.
I have not reached that stage of life yet where when I feel like I have to go, that I immediately have to run to the bathroom. Like, I have been on some road trips where I have been able to kind of hold it for an hour. I did, though, at one point for like 2 summers, I would drink 2 gallons of water each and every day. And that was a little bit tough on the load management issue, if I'm just being honest. But you ran right out of that studio when the show started today.
I'm impressed you could hold it for an hour, man, because you're getting to that point soon, buddy. Yeah. Just be ready. Now, the problem that you have, the problem you have is you're solo, right? So if you have to run, you're leaving the show up to me and Stu. So good luck with that.
I'm tossing a break.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm doing.
All right.
5 minutes past 4 o'clock. We're going to break here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Or I'm going to Manny Rodriguez. He's probably sleeping in the chair behind you. Oh, my God. Heard a little rumors around here. Heard Manny ain't happy with me. That's what I heard. Heard he was a little sensitive. Little sensitive about that. Which makes me think he was actually sleeping. That's what I heard. Sources tell me.
I mean, I don't think he cares that you thought that he was sleeping or that you called him out. You snitching to the boss.
I didn't snitch to the boss.
I mean, did the boss know?
I just brought the boss in here and told him what I saw.
So actually,
I'm being a good teammate.
If you look at Webster's dictionary at the word snitching, it's, quote, bringing the boss in and telling him what I saw.
I'm going to be like Bill Belichick here. I was doing what's in the best interest of the radio station.
We're not going to talk about that here.
Oh, yeah. All righty. I have to ask you this question that I asked Stu. What's your percentage out of 100% that Giannis Antetokounmpo will be on the Bucks to start next season?
Part of me wants to say like 5%. Like it just feels like it's done, especially because of the Dame Lillard injury. There's nothing there. At least if Dame was healthy, maybe they can convince him that they're still building around the two of them. But with Lillard hurt, there's nothing there for Giannis. So I think he's gone, and
there's no way to fix it.
But we talked about who could bring him in. There's like 2 or 3 teams, and the Rockets make the most sense because they have young assets and they have draft picks. But if the Rockets don't make the move, I just don't know who else can from a logistical, realistic standpoint. So for me, it's either Rockets or bust, and I just don't know if the Rockets want to break up the core that they have, that they're building up this young core.
Oh, for Giannis, I'd do that in a second.
Probably right, but they're going to...
He's the second best player in the NBA.
I mean, listen, maybe the Mavericks will trade him for Anthony Davis. It'll be perfect. Straight up.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Imagine if Nico Harrison saves his job by getting Giannis Antetokounmpo to Dallas. There's a better chance that I'm going to run out of the studio in the next 30 seconds to go to the bathroom, which I have no inclination to go to the bathroom right now, than Giannis Antetokounmpo getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks.
It puts the Mavericks' decision not to bring back Jalen Brunson at a whole new light.
You know what? There's only one guy in the NBA who isn't as big of a buffoon as Nico Harrison. Only one guy.
Oh, that's a tease.
Only one guy. No, it's not a tease whatsoever. Oh. There's one guy in the NBA right now, or associated with the NBA, that is a bigger buffoon than Nico Harrison. Any guesses? Stu? Santer? Come on. What do we got? Give me a guess.
Tom Thibodeau.
No! Come on. Don't do that to Tibbs. Go, New York. Go, New York. Go. Santer? You got nothing.
I got nothing.
Tyrese Haliburton's father.
Oh, there you go.
That's the only guy. What a fool that guy is. Oh, my God.
Between him and John Morant's dad. John Morant's dad always seems to be causing trouble.
Yeah, John Morant causes so much trouble himself. John Morant's dad has been an issue?
He's constantly visible on the sideline. He talks trash like crazy.
Yeah, I would just see his son just do stupid things all the time, so I don't really pay attention to I guess his father. Maybe that's a thing where the NBA fathers are crazy.
Well, everyone thinks he looks like Usher, so he's always getting confused for Usher.
Yeah. All righty, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout. We'll talk about Coach Prime at some point with him going to the NFL. I teased that for this segment. Sorry, I did not deliver. Hand up. That's my apologies. We'll get to that at some point.
I blame my stomach.
Yeah, right. We blame your stomach. Your stomach was an issue. I will throw your stomach under the bus today. Ryan Hickey joins us in studio at the top of the hour. Dont'e Thornton Jr. from the Raiders, rookie wide receiver, 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. And Leroy Butler, the inventor of the Lambeau Leap, will join us in studio at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time today. And now joining us, a man that I don't think has any stomach issues. And he's a professional broadcaster.
Don't give me a Kinohara.
Well, you've never had to run out of a shift, right? To go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Never had to do so, or had
Not during, but yeah.
Yeah.
But after, yeah.
If you felt, maybe have to go a little number one or number two, you think you could muscle through and get through the segment?
It's not fun.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm getting diapers for everyone around here. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to all early. It is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. The Dodgers have gotten off to a slow start, but yet have still won 2/3 of their games. They have won 4 straight and are 20-10 and closing out a series this afternoon and currently lead the Marlins 1-0. Max Muncy with a 453-foot home run. That game is in the top of the third with LA up 1-0. The Rockies on top of the Braves 1-0 as they head to the third and bottom of the fifth. In Houston, the Tigers getting home runs from Colt Keith and Javi Baez and lead the Astros by a score of 7-1 in the bottom half of the fifth. Earlier today, Mason Wynn homered twice as the Cardinals down the Reds 6-0 as Miles Michaelis won his first game of the season, combining with the bullpen on a 3-hitter. The Falcons paid a hefty fine for Jeff Ulbricht's son, pranking Shedeur Sanders. The team fined $250,000. The defensive coordinator fined $100,000 after his son took Sanders' number off his father's iPad and called the Colorado quarterback. I'm Rich Acker.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
It's time to Ask the Pros. You, the listener, gets to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's go to Giannis Antetokounmpo on the altercation with Tyrese Haliburton's dad.
I believe being humble in victory. That's how I am. Now there's can be a lot of people out there that are like, no, when you win the game, you gotta talk, and it's a green light for you to be disrespectful towards somebody else. I disagree. I've won the championship. They haven't. But I remember when I won, my mom, she's never missed the games. When we won the championship, I remember my mom, she was scared to cross. She was like, am I allowed to come and hug my son? Except in that, you've never seen my family see courtside. See, this is not something that we do. We don't. But losing the game, emotions run high, having a fan, which at the moment I thought he was a fan, but then I realized he was Tyrese's son, which I love. Tyrese, I think, is a great competitor. He was his dad, sorry. Coming in the floor and showing me his son a towel with his face. This is what we do. This is what we effing do. This is the F we do. I feel like that's very, very disrespectful.
He's 100% right. I love the line of, I have a championship, they don't. That is the ultimate look at my resume, bleep you. I thought that was awesome. I will once again stand by, I think the shame of this whole thing is that the father took away from Tyrese Haliburton's moment, who was recently voted as the most overrated player in the league, and this was a moment to praise your son, and everyone's talking about his jackass of a father today. I will also say this, I have a new NBA Finals, not prediction, because I don't think this will happen, but who I would like to see in the NBA Finals. I want to see the Denver Nuggets up against the Indiana Pacers. Any idea, Stu? I want to see the Denver Nuggets up against the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Finals. Any idea?
Not sure really. Does that maybe something with Tyrese, being kind of like a out of nowhere star?
Nope. Yeah. Samter, any idea why I want to see Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers go up against the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals?
Was there something about a Denver-Indiana matchup at some point that led to a Patriots championship or some nonsense?
No. I want to see Tyrese Haliburton's father try to run up on Nikola Jokic with the Jokic brothers. See if John Haliburton has that same energy when you got Nikola Jokic's brothers standing right there with their horses. All right? Just want to see that. See how that goes for John. Giannis actually nice dude, just going to go nose for nose with you, then walk away. You do that to Nikola Jokic, he won't do anything, but his brother's going to come after you, John. Let's go to Tyrese Haliburton on his dopey dad's confrontation with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Me and my pops have talked about that, and I don't agree with what transpired there from him. Basketball is basketball, and let's keep it on the court. And I think that he just got excited, saw his son make a game winner, and came on the court. The emotions of the game just got excited there. But I talked with him. I'll talk with Giannis eventually about it. Just I don't think that my pops was in the right at all there, and unfortunate what happened in the end there.
Good for Tyrese Haliburton. Good for him. I like the way that he handled that. His dad acted like an idiot. Tyrese Haliburton doesn't need to condone what his dad did. Let's go to Ryan Clark. He was on the ESPN earlier this morning, and he wants Tyrese Haliburton's father banned. Listen up.
That just can't happen. And kudos to Giannis Antetokounmpo of being the type of man that he is. Because I know a ton of football players, and the first thing I thought when they were face-to-face was headbutting, right? Because if you're going to allow people on the court, if you're going to allow fans to be face-to-face with players, then players should get to protect themselves against those fans and against those people. And I believe he should never be allowed to be at another basketball game. Punish him. Yeah. Right, if you're going to run on the court, if you're going to be big and bad, if you're going to put yourself above the game, don't come to the game, ever. You have to make a stand so no one else does this.
Ryan Clark always goes to the extreme. It's the guy's father. I have destroyed the guy's father on the air. They're not going to ban him from the rest of this guy's career from going to NBA games. You want to say, hey, don't show up for the rest of the postseason, or we're going to move your seat somewhere? Fine. But ban him from ever going to an NBA game again? It's a little bit too extreme. By the way, talking about headbutting, I think you two will be impressed with me. You guys are soccer snobs. Wasn't it Zinedine Zidane all those years ago with the headbutt? Was that France and Italy? France and Italy World Cup?
Yeah, World Cup.
That was a great moment. That's a Giannis. He should have did a little Zinedine Zidane headbutt. Poof, right to John Haliburton.
Well, he got kicked out of the game and ended up losing the World Cup because that was in the championship game right
awesome
before
moment.
Extra time. So not a great moment.
That was cool. Made me remember something about soccer, I'll tell you that. Here is Shedeur Sanders and his draft call with the Cleveland Browns when he was selected in the 5th round, pick 144 overall.
Can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, I know it's been a long weekend. We're going to take you off the floor here, all right, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, you got to come in, you got to work hard, you got to earn your job, earn your keep. And it doesn't matter where you're taking, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented, spent a lot of time with you, you're a big kid. Let's get ready to go to work and improve what we're past the week. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I got a coach here right now.
Yo. What's up, coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity, we're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
That sounds awkward. And I don't blame Shedeur being annoyed, but you're getting drafted. I know you just got humiliated. You have to wait to the 5th round, 144 overall. I also didn't love, and like, he's talking to the team. I know everything gets recorded. He's got a camera in front of him, behind him, like visible on the FaceTime. It's like a little obnoxious, if I'm just being honest. And I'm a Shedeur supporter. I thought Shedeur should have been a first-round pick. I didn't love that whole exchange with the Browns, though, and Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. That's just me, though. Let's go to Jeff Ulbrich. So the Falcons were fined, what, $250,000, and then he was fined $100,000? Jeff Ulbrich apologizes for his son's prank of Shedeur Sanders when Jax Ulbrich did call Shedeur and told him he was getting drafted when he wasn't.
First of all, I'd like to publicly apologize to Shedeur and the Sanders family for what occurred. Second of all, I want to publicly apologize to Mr. Blank, Terry Fontenot, Raheem Morris, and the entire Falcons organization. My actions of not protecting confidential data were inexcusable. My son's actions were absolutely inexcusable. And for that, we are both deeply sorry. The NFL has taken action, and I fully respect the punishment. We take full responsibility, my son and myself, and we will not be appealing the fine in any way. Going forward, I promise my son and I will work hard to demonstrate we are better than this. Again, I'm deeply sorry for our actions.
Oh, my God. Man, are you crying, Coach? This is not the end of the world. Don't get me wrong. What happened to Shedeur was stupid. It happened to a lot of draft prospects. Does not make it right. But the fact that there are $350,000 in fines over this, like the fine to the team doesn't matter. I'm sure Ulbrich will be fine. That's a little bit too much, if you ask me. Real quickly, Jeff Ulbrich's reaction when he realized his son was involved in this.
Yeah, obviously not happy and shocked. And so I made the Falcons aware of the situation. And then our next course of action was to try to get a hold of the Sanders family so we could apologize in person, which we were able to do. The Sanders family, Shedeur and Coach Sanders, were amazingly gracious, more gracious than they needed to be in a moment like this.
I wonder what the punishment is inside the house. Now, his son's 21. What is he doing to make his son pay him back the $100K without actually paying him back the $100K? You were doing the dishes. You were folding the laundry. You were raking the leaves. You were shoveling the driveway if it ever needs to get shoveled. You know, anything. $100,000. Whew. I wouldn't be too happy if I was Jeff Ulbrich. Like, the fine to the team, whatever. The fine to the dad, whew, that's a bad one. I'd be making that son getting up at 3 in the morning, running up and down like the biggest hill in Atlanta that they could find. All righty, coming up back on Hot Take Hickey, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The piping hot takes of Ryan Hot Take Hickey do not, I repeat, do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Hickey at night Sunday, I'm combing our hair with moose gel and spray. The takes are so hot, 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 sometimes it's right, usually not. This best segment is coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey.
Everybody!
Hot takes and hair gel on a Sunday night. Hickey's dropping takes that probably aren't right. Dropping a teaser for what's coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey Hex. Talking Penn State while Stu's smoking kush, but Hickey is always the #1 mush. You will nice and moist, might get more sober than Stu. We only joke of us, we like you, but I have to ask, is it true? Is your hair held together by pace and loop? Oh, Hickey's takes are coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey Hex.
All righty, it is a Wednesday, so it's a Hot Take Hickey Wednesday on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Dont'e Thornton will join us coming up at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Leroy Butler, the Hall of Famer, in studio today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Any hot takes about Dont'e Thornton that we could just basically guarantee that he'll have a Hall of Fame career if you crap on him in here in this segment before he joins us next?
You know what? I'll do it for Stu. He's going to suck.
Oh, my God.
Bust. He is going to... Stu, who's the speedster that you drafted?
Darius Hayward-Bay.
He's going to be Darius Hayward-Bay 2.0. Raider Nation, you're welcome.
You know what? You could be the next Mel Kiper.
You could be. In what sense? Just yelling about how I'm right and everyone else is wrong and ignoring every single wrong pick or prediction that I make.
You have
of the
hair.
course of my history.
You have the hair. You have the hot takes, and you have the good, opinionated
My heels dug in.
presence, is what I would say.
And
There's
also,
like an opinionated presence to you.
you can't see Mel or I's feet because they are so dug into the ground of what stance we stand on that I think we also mirror each other there.
Well, there's one big difference between you and Mel Kiper.
What is that?
You hate Shedeur Sanders. He loves Shedeur Sanders.
I don't hate Shedeur Sanders.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
do.
just a realist. That's all.
What are you
There's
a
no way-
realist about?
About him. About his bravado, quote unquote bravado. About his personality, about his outlook on the game, about his outlook on himself, about his skill set, about how the NFL views him. That's all. I'm not a hater on him, Colorado. I don't drink the Kool-Aid like all national media want to do about how great Deion in Colorado is. I'm just a realist. That's all. That's all I am. No hate. No hate.
The only
here.
thing that I have a problem with you is that, like, you look at Colorado and what they've done the last 2 years, from one win to one of the most relevant programs in the country to a team that won 9 games last year. Very impressive what they've done the last 2 years. And you've basically just knocked it the entire way. But Penn State blows every big game they play in, and you keep on being an excuse maker for James Franklin and company.
Well, I don't make excuses for them.
Oh, yeah, you do.
When do I make excuses? When they lose, I rightfully say they should have been, like, they lost a game.
You literally texted me the other day, and you said Penn State Notre Dame didn't win the semifinal game. Penn State lost it.
Yeah, I said by that.
I'm just saying.
That's a knock to Penn State.
You never give
They
the
weren't
other
outplayed.
team credit, and you always
gave-
just suck up to Penn State. I'm not even disagreeing with your take, but it's just
No, I think I'm being fair. Penn State, going back to that game, Drew Eller threw a pick in his own end zone. Their offense stunk, but
by the
they
way,
gave away the game.
I haven't talked about this. You see this James Franklin video?
I did.
So
I
that
did
was
see
at the spring game?
That was at the spring game on Saturday.
And a
Yes,
fan
sir.
just called him a fraud and he lost his mind?
Yes, that's by all accounts. That's what happened.
What do you make of that?
I think it's weak, honestly.
Good.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I think
Holding
James
Penn
Franklin
State accountable.
I think James Franklin is too good for that, and I think it's a bad look.
Dude, you're right. He's just good.
No, but I'm
Not great.
like any
Good.
coach in that situation, like you don't win, and that's my biggest frustration. He did it after the Ohio State game. I get there's emotions that are higher,
Where he rung the victory bell when they
But-
lost.
you don't.
Stu nod.
Unless it's like a Jaron Duran situation where a fan truly crosses the line, which happens, but not as much as you would think. There's no
Be the
winning.
bigger man.
Right, there's no winning that situation. It's like us on Twitter when people tweet us about whatever that we say that they disagree with,
ignore
and they
it,
go
have
name
fun.
calling. You fighting that person about why you're right and they're wrong, you don't win. There's no end game that's a positive, and that's what bothers me the most is he takes on these battles that are impossible for him to win.
What
Learn
did
your lesson.
What did you make last night of John Haliburton going and antagonizing Giannis Antetokounmpo? I was hoping the Greek Freak was about to punch him.
He's lucky. He's lucky. Number one, he's walking on his own.
I would have applauded it.
I agree. I think if something did go down, I don't think Giannis should be in the wrong. I think he had the green light to swing on him in that situation, especially when he first thought it was a fan before realizing who it actually was. That's embarrassing. Like, honestly, I hope I'm never like that as a dad. I don't have kids, so I don't know, but I think that's just embarrassing as a father.
Oh, I think you're going to be bad at Little League games.
No.
You're going to be standing there. This kid sucks. My son's going to hit a home run, and then he's going to strike out.
I could never. No. I guarantee I will not be because you see it growing up and it's so embarrassing.
I don't know, Hickey. A few drinks in you have a mouth.
I'm not. But the benefit for me is I'm not confrontational. So I will not go to the coach and be like, Coach, why not play my kid? Well, what are we doing here? This guy sucks. Put my guy in. I'm too scared to do that.
Okay.
So I am. So I will never be like John Haliburton last night, going up to a 7-foot insane freak of a man and taunting him because my son just hit a game-winning shot over him because I'd be too afraid he'd swing on me.
Now, you know how much respect I have for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know I have been one of the biggest advocates for keeping Giannis in Milwaukee.
What was it? Do you remember the slogan from a few years ago?
Was
it just sign
It was keep the Greek Freak. That was one hashtag. Sign that Supermax.
Okay.
Those were the hashtags that were trending in Milwaukee. And I was very popular in the NBA Bucks world with Reddit. Usually bad things are said about me on Reddit. That was the one time something positive was said about me on Reddit. I don't feel good about Giannis staying. I don't see why you would stay at this point.
And I think I could also make the argument from the Bucks' perspective, why would you keep him? Like, if you truly are about winning.
See, you tend to do this with star players. You do.
Me.
Yeah, like Josh Allen, the Bills should trade him. Giannis, the Bucks should trade him. And I'm not criticizing you, even though the Josh Allen opinion was stupid. But you tend to look at it why the team should move on, and I tend to look at it through the lens of why the player should move on.
Well, I feel like from the player perspective, from Giannis' perspective, it's obvious, right? He said he wants to be in Milwaukee as long as they're winning. Well, Dame's out next year. That salary's not going anywhere. You're capped, or you're strapped with your cap. You have no coach that's good. You have no depth whatsoever. Any guy you want to bring back is old. So, like, you look at the roster, it's like that team is nowhere close to competing against the Celtics, the Cavs. So that's why I look at it.
And
from
anytime they're
the
backed
Bucks
into a
perspective.
corner, they have been able to swing and deliver someone to make him want to stay. I don't think there's, to your point, a way to deliver someone wanting him to stay. But still, I would never sit there when I have a player who's still this young and still in his prime and has accomplished so much and be, as an organization, I want to get rid of that player.
I'm not saying you want to get rid of him, but I think when you are realistic, if your number one goal, and this is not true for every organization, but if your number one goal is we want to win as often as we can and compete for a title as many years as possible, I think it's worth taking a step back.
Oh, they have no chance of winning a championship if they get rid of Giannis. For a long time.
Well, you could be like the Thunder. Like, you got to get it right, but I think your path to winning is easier. What's the right word I'm trying to look? I think you have a better path to win quicker by trading Giannis and keeping Giannis.
I also have to ask you this. The Knicks, that was bad last night.
Whole series has been bad. They've been outplayed for most of it.
Just yes or no, do they still win this series?
I think they do.
How much percentage of chance would you have them to beat the Celtics 4 times in a 7-game series? Zero.
But that was the case even before the series. But now, maybe I could have put it at 1 or 5.
And you're usually optimistic.
Yeah, this is actually this is
the most
a
critical
weird
I've ever heard you be about
emotion.
one of your own teams.
I actually did not. That's a lot. Like, I was excited for the playoffs for the Knicks, but like in the back of my mind the entire time, ever since the postseason started, really even since like March started, this team has no chance to beat the Celtics. So it's like, sure, they can, whoever they play in round one, in this case the Pistons, like it'd be great to win. They should win, but like their season's already like fait accompli. Like we know how it's ending. The only question is how many games. And right now, if they win 1 game against the Celtics out of 5, it's going to be a miracle.
Ryan Hot Take Hickey in the studio with us. 100 people or 1 gorilla? Who wins?
100 people.
Oh, you're crazy.
I don't understand. Do
you know how big a gorilla is?
I totally understand the size and the strength of a gorilla. But we're talking about 100 men here.
Yeah.
Even 100 average-sized men. At some point, quantity is greater than quality.
Hickey,
It's a numbers game. If you have 10 guys on the right arm of the gorilla, 10 guys pinning the left arm of the gorilla, 10 guys holding his left leg down, 10 guys holding his right leg down, that is 40 people right there pinning the gorilla to the ground. You're going to put another 5 people on his neck, and then you have another 50 people free to start punching the gorilla, choke him out. Now we going to till death, or is this like a tap out situation? I don't know.
You got to kill the gorilla.
But like, yeah, I mean, how could someone not put him in a chokehold and make him tap out? Like, this to me is so obvious.
So when gorillas start popping up everywhere and start dominating the world, we now can blame you because you're going to put the hex on us regular people. But think about it. 100 people. So let's just say Stu, Samter, Gallo, and you are for the 100 people. What the heck good is that up against a gorilla? None. That gorilla will maul you in a second, Stu in a second, Samter in a second, me in a second, Ack in a second, a Gallo in a second.
How many people at one time can a gorilla maul? Like, probably 1 at a time, maybe 2. You come in with waves. You overwhelm the gorilla in numbers.
Stop. You just said you're not a confrontational person.
Yes.
You're running at that gorilla?
You're
sitting there with the urine going right down your leg.
I think fair or...
You're like Santa in the first segment. You're crapping your pants.
A fair assumption is these 100 people are willing to risk their lives to die for the greater good. Because
prepare for glory.
I think that has to be part of it. Because, I mean... In general, if you have 100 people that are scared, then fine, the gorilla wins. But if you have 100 people that are fearless to the gorilla that said, I'm going to war and I'm willing to risk my life to win this battle, I think it's pretty easy the 100 men beat the gorilla. Even if it's 100 Stews. There's no doubt in my mind.
Whoa, why does Stu have to catch us right here?
Well, sorry, Stu. You're the first. Even 100 Samters.
Stu, can you...
Even 100 Samters.
Can you stand up for yourself here? Everyone keeps on taking shots at Stu. I don't like it. I think you guys are mean to Stu.
Sorry, Stu.
That's fine. I don't care. I don't care enough.
Stu's like, who gives a crap what Hickey has to say? He's wrong about anything anyway. Who gets to the NBA Finals?
I'm saying the Thunder and the Celtics. Chalk. essentially.
Yeah.
I know the Cavs are
If the Celtics and the Thunder can't get to the finals, then who gets there?
So my initial, before the playoffs, I would have said the Clippers. They've not played as well as I thought.
Oh, yeah. Weren't they the team that was like the biggest dark horse to get to the finals?
That's right.
How are they doing now? They're down 3-2?
They're down 3-2. The defense that was number one for a long stretch is now starting to crumble. I would say if it's not Oklahoma City, if it's not Boston, I will go with the Cavaliers.
Okay. So, and then how about in the Western Conference? Timberwolves or Nuggets?
I would go the Nuggets.
Warriors?
I don't believe the Warriors. I think their ceiling is one series win. I think their ceiling's like the Knicks. Win a first-round series and done.
Terry Wilson with an elite comment in the YouTube chat. Uh-oh. 100 gorillas versus one Shep. I got Shep. But Shep can't beat Mike Tyson. Or Shep can beat Mike Tyson. That'd be good.
Shep would be a psycho that would say, I'll fight the gorilla one-on-one.
I think Shep believes he can beat the gorilla.
I mean, if you believe you can beat Mike Tyson,
I think
who
Shep
don't
would
you
say,
think you can beat up?
I think Shep would say, forget about the other 99 men. I will go mano-a-mano up against the gorilla.
I'm just
All I
curious
need is a can of tuna.
What do you think his strategy would be? Because for Mike Tyson, it was, I'm going to run around the ring because he's so old, I'm going to tire him out because he thought that Mike Tyson was just going to chase him the whole time. Then he's going to get a 1-2 knockout in there because Mike Tyson's out of breath. I'd love to know what his strategy would be for the gorilla.
And by the way that JJ Redick is coaching the Lakers right now, I would say that Shep could also coach the Lakers too. I think he picked the wrong coach. He went after Darvin Ham.
Pick 5 guys, have them run out there for the entire half and say, fellas, let's see what we can do. Shep could do that.
What's your biggest reaction from the NFL draft, by the way?
Ooh. Biggest overall reaction. I mean, outside of Shedeur, obviously. You know what? I don't think this is talked about enough. I don't know what the Falcons are doing. Trading a first-round pick.
They're going for it.
For what, though? You're going for... You pick a guy in James Pierce. Say what you want about his off-the-field character. Put that aside for a second. You have essentially a rookie quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. He could get hurt. He could struggle. You're, quote-unquote, going for it. And if things go to hell next year, you're out of a first-round pick. You're hurting yourself. I don't think the reward of getting maybe 2 bookend edge rushers is worth the risk of this season going poorly, a rookie quarterback not playing well, and you now losing a top possibly 10 pick.
I'd still be surprised if that's top 10, but it's not.
They should be good. I'm a Michael Penix. I think he'll be fine. But that's to bet a first round pick that he'll be fine. I was mind blown.
Your spiciest take of the NFL draft was that Will Howard, this is Hickey's take, not mine, was is going to be the second best quarterback of this draft class. Landed in a good situation.
That's right.
But your take's still going to be wrong.
Who's number 2?
It's going to be Shedeur.
If he makes the roster.
Shedeur will make the roster. Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel locked to make the roster. It's coming down to Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco's the odd guy out there.
I think Shedeur's career is actually going to follow Geno Smith, where he has to go to a different team to have like. Do you when you believe in Shedeur, do you think he's going to be a Cleveland Brown like 5 years down the road?
Well, the odds would be against Shedeur because Cleveland rotates in quarterbacks like Stu rotates in and out maybe a smoking device on a Friday night. Can you clean it up?
Sorry.
This is after.
I didn't know
the nights. This is afternoon drive.
I did not know that the B word was off limits. I apologize.
Come on.
I'm used to nighttime when more things can fly.
Oh my God.
Including curse words.
Yeah, this is not Hick at night. All right, this is not 11 p.m. on a Sunday. All right, jeez, we have a standard to uphold here. All righty, I've had enough of you today. You're out of here.
This is 15 minutes longer than most people give me, so thank you.
Enough. How does your girlfriend live with you? That's my question.
It's a great question. I don't know. Ask myself every day.
How has she not kicked you out yet?
It's a great question. I don't know.
Oh, my God. Are you a good, say, house guest? You live there.
Of course.
Yeah?
I do a lot of the cleaning. Of course.
Okay.
I'm very respectful. I do a lot of the dishes. I clean up. I leave no mess.
All the punishments that Jax Olbrich is going to have to do to earn back the $100,000. That's like you on a daily basis.
Minus the yellow or the orange jumpsuit on the side of the road, pick up the trash. That's basically, him and I are one and the same.
He's not a criminal.
Well, listen, if I'm Jeff Olbrich, I lost $100K, you might as well be a criminal. You're getting out there and you are not stop working until I say stop.
Yeah. What did the Eagles say in the Super Bowl? Like belt to ass, right? Jeff Olbrich.
21-year-old kid, you're probably above physical punishment, but not in this case.
It's like Mr. Deeds when the quarterback of the Jets was disrespectful, and then Adam Sandler tells the dad of the quarterback of the Jets, and he's like, "No, Daddy, no!" And they have the belt just standing over him. That's what it's kind of like. All right, we got to get ready. Dont'e Thornton, who's going to be a star in the NFL, because Hickey, I guess, is out on him. He's going to join us next on the other side. Imagine if Dont'e sitting there just listening to this. That's Ryan Hot Take Hickey, Dont'e. You could thank him at your Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. Let's talk a little bit about the Raiders. I'm actually going out to Las Vegas tomorrow morning for a little vacation, and Dont'e Thornton Jr. is going to get to know Las Vegas very well, as he was a fourth-round pick at 108 overall in this past NFL draft. He played his college ball. It started off at Oregon, and he wrapped up his career in college at Tennessee. And he's kind enough to join us right now. Dont'e, first and foremost, congratulations. Appreciate the time. And how you been?
I mean, I've been good, man. Just enjoying it, man. Definitely been good.
So take me back, right? It's Saturday. You get into the fourth round. You get that phone call from the Raiders. Relive that moment for me.
Man, it's so crazy to me. Like, so originally I thought like the Titans were going to get me like that first pick of the fourth. But as the time went on, I was just sitting there, and I seen my phone ring, and I seen a number, and then it was like a Las Vegas area code. I looked to my left, my dad was sitting next to me. I looked at him, I looked back at my phone, and then I answered it. And then I heard Coach. It was like I had went into like a moment of shock. It was like I really couldn't say too much, because I just kept saying yes, sir. It was crazy. I swear it was crazy.
And that's pretty neat, right? Like, it's always cool to get drafted, obviously. Like, I can't speak from experience, but on the other line is Pete Carroll, who we know what he did at USC, and we know what he's done in the NFL with the Seahawks, now with the Raiders. That's got to be pretty neat to have a coach like Pete Carroll want you on his football team, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. It was crazy to me. Definitely was crazy.
I'll tell you, though, I don't know if you've seen this, and I'm sure that you watch back, right, your name getting called like numerous times, but the commentary on ESPN, Louis Riddick said you remind him of Randy Moss a little bit. When you hear that, what comes to mind?
Man.
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
That feel good. That's a great comparison. Randy Moss is not the best, one of the best receivers to ever play football. So having that comparison is definitely like that's some big shoes to fill. But yeah, I definitely love that comparison.
Yeah, he said the way that you accelerate and the long legs and the speed that you have, running the 4.33, that's the similarities that he saw to Randy Moss, which is pretty cool. What can you bring, though, to the Raiders? If people haven't seen you at Oregon or Tennessee, Dont'e Thornton Jr., when they watch you on Sundays now, what are you going to do at the next level?
Oh, yeah, I feel sure you're going to definitely see a receiver that's a big and fast guy that can stretch the field and play inside or outside receiver. But the biggest thing you won't see on the field is the fact that I'm a great person. Like, with me joining the team will be adding a great person on and off the field. So I say that's something that people will get to notice after some time.
Yeah, I was talking to Lindsay, who works with Max. I'm a Max Talent person as well. And she was telling me you already do a lot of work already in the Baltimore community because you're from Baltimore. Tell me a little bit about the charity work that you've already started to do.
Oh, yeah, so I have a foundation back home. It's called Driven Throughout the Journey, and, like, that's my initials, DTTJR. So they are my initials, but basically what I do is I have 2 scholarships that I do for kids in the city that are, like, don't go to private school, and I pay for their tuition for the semester. And
that's awesome.
I want to build on that. I want to build on that in the years to come and do like a bunch of like back to school drives. I want to start my own football program where I'm doing 7-on-7 for boys and girls. So I just want to do a lot just to get back to the neighborhood and just the city that I'm from.
Obviously, you have so much going on, right? Transitioning from college to the NFL. And clearly this is something that has been near and dear to your heart the last few years. Why was it so important to want to give back right away and do this so early on?
I just know how hard it was for me growing up and not having that type of access to like those people that were successful and made it out of my city. So like with me being one of the first, well, not the first, but one of those guys who actually was able to make it out, just being able to use my story to show other children that are growing up there that like it's very much possible to happen. And I'm a living example from that.
What type of football fan were you growing up as a kid? Just wondering.
Oh, as in like a team?
Yeah, team, players. You could answer both ways. Yeah,
I say team. Like for college, Oregon was my dream school, so I grew up like in Oregon. That's when they have the best uniforms, but that's when they had Marcus Mariota, De'Anthony Thomas. My favorite players Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones. So I say like those are definitely two of my like favorite players in football, with receivers if anything.
What do you take from the Oregon experience? Because I know, right, you hit the transfer portal eventually. You did finish your career at Tennessee, but you look back at your time from Oregon. How did that kind of shape you?
I just say it helped me check the box of being able to go to a school like the school that was my dream school. I felt like if I didn't go to Oregon, I would have regretted not being able to say that I went to my dream school. So knowing that I did that, that's something I'll be able to look back at. Say, yeah, a lot of people won't be for one that got to live all that.
Dont'e Thornton Jr. here with us on the Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network, a fourth-round pick with the Las Vegas Raiders. When you look back at Tennessee and your time there, after transfer, maybe not knowing what you were going to get into at Tennessee, how do you look back at the experience with the Volunteers?
I definitely say it was a tricky but great experience. Like I learned a lot throughout that time about myself on and off the field. But I say like being at Tennessee for those 2 years, it helped me develop into like the player that I am now. With being able to deal with a lot of adversity and knowing that things don't always go my way, but as long as I take advantage of the opportunities that I'm given, things will work out for me. And I lived that out throughout my career, especially my 2 years at Tennessee.
Yeah, what was exactly tricky there? Just wondering. Like, what was the adversity that you had to fight through at Tennessee?
I just say just like with me being very competitive, I always wanted to start and stuff like that. With not having the opportunity to start in very many games there, I say that was a big part of the adversity. But just like it was a learning curve when I first got there because Tennessee has a very different offense than most schools. So they brought me in as a slot, so I was trying to learn the offense in that position. It was a little bit more difficult for me, but once I got it, it was good for me.
And last year, obviously, Nico Iamaleava was on Tennessee. What do you think Nico could be? I know that's a big news item with him leaving Tennessee and going to UCLA, but what do you think he could ultimately develop into as a quarterback?
Oh, Nico already is a good quarterback, but he's going to finish as a great quarterback. He's definitely going to be one of those guys that get drafted very high at the quarterback position and have a long career in the NFL. And he's going to do great in these next 2 years in college football for sure.
Did you understand that whole situation, or were you like questioning it like a lot of us were when you look at his departure at Tennessee?
Nah, I understood. Nico, my guy. That's my dog. I understood it for sure. Gotcha. And I'm a guy that
I think we lost him there. Dont'e Thornton Jr. Yeah, we got you back. What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I said it's a lot of stuff that was involved with the Nico situation that I can't speak on because I don't know much about. But in terms of just the transfer portal alone, I support guys entering the transfer portal because I was the guy that entered the portal and got somewhere else.
Fair enough. Hey, getting back to the Raiders, Dont'e Thornton Jr. here with us. Ashton Jeanty was my favorite player in college football this past season. Now he's on the Raiders.
Oh, my goodness.
Man, there's so much about him. I hear the smile. I see the smile. I hear the excitement in your voice. You got to be pretty pumped up to play with Ashton Jeanty, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely pumped up. In my head, it's like we have Ashton Jeanty. We got Brock Bowers. I play receiver, but both of those guys are going to have a lot of attention from the defense, which only make it easier for me because you have to decide, like, you can play man coverage, and then there's a bunch of one-on-ones. But then if you try to play zone, we're going to run the ball. So it's like we got a lot of weapons, and I feel like we're going to have a great offense for sure.
Yeah, you got Geno Smith.
It's exciting. It's exciting for sure. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, you got Geno Smith at quarterback, Ashton Jeanty at running back, Brock Bowers at tight end, Jacoby Myers in that receiver room too. Now you. Like if a Raider fan is asking you, okay, year one, what can they expect out of you just to transitioning into the NFL? What could be the immediate impact that you could bring to a team?
I just say just playing my role. Like I feel like I have the ability to make a lot of plays in the NFL. So I just say just once I learn the whole offense and the system and things like that, being able to just go out there and make the plays that I'm given with every opportunity there is. Like I'm not gonna put no number on anything or something like that, but I just know like when I get an opportunity, I'll make a lot of plays. And that's something that the fans should be excited for and ready for.
Has it sunk in yet? Just wondering that now you're in the NFL and you're a member of the Raiders?
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I had like my first meeting, and it's like when I seen everything, I'm like, yeah, it's real now. Like it's not college football anymore. But it took a few days for it to really set in with me, but it definitely is starting to hit me now. You know,
just out of curiosity, because you were waiting to hear your name call. What was your view on the whole Shedeur Sanders situation with him falling all the way to the fifth round?
Oh, that was crazy to me. Like, it threw me off. I don't really know what went into it, but everybody going to have, like, their opportunity. And when that happens, I feel like he's going to take advantage of that opportunity. But it definitely was crazy. I definitely thought he should have been a first-round guy for sure.
Hey, by the way, a 4-3-3. You always knew
4-3 flat. 4-3 flat.
Sorry, 4-3 flat. let me get it correct there. When you ran that, obviously you know you're capable of it, but when you put that performance out there, knowing that you could potentially do something and then doing it, you must have been on cloud 9, right?
It was crazy. Like, when I ran, I didn't think I ran good.
Really?
So at the combine, when you're actually there, they don't show what you ran until your second rep. So I didn't really, in my mind, I wasn't really worried about what I ran. I was just hoping like I ran something faster than 4.4. So like when I got down and ran, I was relaxed when I ran. And then I heard like I got a friend. He was a Tennessee fan, younger kid, and he came to the combine. So after I ran, I only could hear him. He was like, "Hey Dont'e, 4.3 flat." I was like, "Oh snap!" So I was walking back to like the line where everybody was at. Everybody just started running up to me, and they all was saying like I ran 4.3 flat. It was crazy to me.
That's wild. And you didn't even think you ran it that fast?
No, I didn't think I did.
That's scary.
Man, it was crazy.
That's absolutely scary. What do you want to improve on the most? Instead of just saying everything, like real talk, you as a receiver, what do you want to improve on the most, Dont'e?
I say I just need I want to improve on my route running ability.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Dont'e, hey, good luck. Congratulations. We appreciate you jumping on board with us today.
Oh, yeah, I definitely appreciate you.
You got it. There he is, Dont'e Thornton Jr., 4th-round pick of the Las Vegas Raiders, joining us in studio, joining us on the phone on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Leroy Butler will join us in studio coming up in about a half hour from now at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. We'll come on back with a little Take 5 Wednesday, the 5 most shocking draft slides, guys that just fell in the NFL draft, and this is obviously off of Shedeur Sanders and that incredible fall that we saw. I still can't believe that he was a 5th-round pick for someone that we thought was going to go in the 1st round. Then maybe 2nd round. Definitely won't fall out of the 3rd round. He fell out of the 3rd round, fell out of the 4th round, and then eventually did go in the 5th round. Let's get the latest update in, though. First, here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
On that draft day prank on Shedeur Sanders was a costly one, with the Falcons being fined $250,000 and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich $100,000 after his son got Sanders' number off his father's iPad and made the call to the Colorado quarterback. The Ravens have picked up the 5th-year option on safety Kyle Hamilton, but not center Tyler Linderbaum. However, GM Eric DeCosta said he'd prefer to do long-term deals with both. Baseball today, lots of it. Top of the 8th in Houston, the Tigers lead the Astros 7-4. Javi Baez and Colt Keith with home runs for Detroit in this one. The Rockies on top of the Braves 2-1 in the top half of the 6th inning. Brenton Doyle with his 4th for Colorado. The Dodgers lead the Marlins 4-2. Bottom of the 5th, Max Muncy his 1st for L.A. Kyle Stowers has gone deep for Miami. Angels and Mariners are even at 1 in the bottom half of the 2nd. And the Giants and Padres are underway and scoreless in the 2nd as well. Miles Mikolas went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits. That was enough. The bullpen took care of the rest. The Cardinals blanked the Reds by a score of 6-0. Mason Wynn homered twice in this one for St. Louis. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Let me tell you, Twitter could be a hell of a place. So, this is just wild. These are the last 3 tweets I've seen. So, here's the latest on Belichick and Jordan Hudson. Let me tell you, there is a story that this should no longer be in the news cycle. Like, everyone reacts to it. Everyone sees it. All right, she interrupted the interview. Who cares at this point? And this is coming from someone, I went off yesterday on this. But the fact that this is now, a 3 or 4 day story? Stu, does this still need to be a story?
I think we've passed that point. I think yesterday was the last day. I think we've gone to a point where it's enough.
Samter, let me ask you this, because you're pretty good at identifying stories, and you know how to just drag out stories. We're doing now 4 days of Belichick and Jordan Hudson? Is that day number 4? 3 or 4? Like, isn't it at this point, do I need to have CBS issuing a statement? There were no parameters to the interview, and then the Belichick camp is claiming that, there were parameters around this. At this rate, who cares? The fact that this is still a fight is dumb.
I mean, listen, I think that we're past the point of her chiming in during the interview, but they put out a statement. Mm-hmm. Belichick put out a statement.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Calling out CBS.
Stupid.
CBS has to put out a statement to defend themselves and explain what's going on.
Yeah.
And then the story advances. So, yeah, I think as long as the story advances, if there was nothing new that happened since the interview aired, then we can move on. But every day that we've talked about this, something new has come up. First, it was the interview. Then it was the TMZ report about her storming out and throwing a tantrum. Then it was this new thing where they put out a statement and CBS having to defend it. At the end of the day, when you're doing a book tour, like we have 1 million people coming on shows to do book tours. And what happens? We talk to them about whatever their sport is for 10 minutes, and then we ask them 2 questions about the book at the end.
Or if the book is so thought-provoking and so good, then you ask them a lot of questions about the book.
Sure, but you're not like if we've had these situations before where guys are coming on the show and they'll say, well, we're not going to talk about XYZ.
People try to set parameters with me.
That's what I'm saying, and we'll say, no, we're not doing that.
Of course.
Right?
And we tell them, go kick rocks.
Right.
And they're like, but you're going to reject someone of this caliber? I go, great. If there's something really sensitive, for example, a death in the family, like something with the child, I have a heart. I have a soul.
Situation.
A legal situation. Yeah, I get like, hey, they're not going to say anything. I understand that. But if you tell me, there's sometimes we do these interviews and they go, he won't talk about this. And I go, I didn't even know this person had this thing involved with them.
But now I want to know about it.
So if you're going to try to do parameters around interviews and set guidelines and put up bumpers on what we could ask, 99.9% of the time I will say thanks, but no thanks. Because it's no good to us. Because we have a responsibility to the listening audience to ask questions that people are going to want to hear the answers to. And there's a lot of people that do this job that kiss up and suck up to the person that they're interviewing. I'm not saying I have tons of relationships with people that we interview. But if you're just having a guest to have a guest, don't waste our time. All right? It's a waste. It's a disservice to the listening audience. And sometimes we put a guest on that's good. Sometimes we put a guest on that's bad. But there's always a reason why we put a guest on this show. I'm not bringing on some slap you-know-what writer for 25 minutes to just kill 25 minutes of airtime because there's nothing to talk about on April 30th. There's hosts that do that, trust me.
Now, you said writer. Is that W-R-I-T-E-R?
No, it's not a shot at Bill
R-E-I-T-E-R?
Like a boring journalist that doesn't give any opinions and will be like, oh, well, it's not my responsibility to give an opinion on this. Okay, then why am I talking to you? Shut up. All right? But anyway, why I brought this up. Nikki Glazer, you know her, right? The comedian. She commented, and this is via Savage Sports, which is like a Boston Twitter account. I follow them. Very interesting. The Twitter account says, well, this is interesting and explains a lot about how the Belichick family feels towards Jordan Hudson. On the comments of Julian Edelman's Instagram video, Nikki Glazer defends Jordan Hudson. She writes, 100% this. She's acting as his publicist. Publicists do this during interviews. People are out for blood. Steve Belichick's wife, Jen, chimes in. Publicists act in a professional manner and don't storm off set, delaying interviews. Now, if that's actually Belichick's son's wife, that's juicy. That's worthy of talking about. Because we haven't got into this dynamic yet. There is no way Belichick's children, like how old is Steve Belichick? Early 40s? Let's see, Steve Belichick's age, maybe late 30s? Oh, well, it comes up as Bill Belichick's father, who was 86 and is no longer living. I think he passed away in 2004, 2005, something like that. Let's see Brian Belichick. Let's just see the age of Brian Belichick. Come on. It doesn't even give his age? Can you guys just look up and see how old the Belichick's kids are? I would imagine they're like late 30s, early 40s.
It looks like Brian is 37.
He's 37?
Yes.
Okay. Can you imagine how they feel that their father, who's 73, is dating someone that's younger, significantly younger than them, that's got to be awkward. Very awkward. It's not like she's 55. Not like she's 60. She's I wouldn't even call her an adult. She's a young adult. Right? Isn't that what you refer as a 23-year-old, like a young adult? Like, right? Like, yeah, you're an adult. But the Patriots' first Super Bowl was 2001. Was she even alive? Yeah, she was born in 2000. She doesn't remember it. She was born in 2000, right? Or maybe 2001. 2000! I was born in 1994. I'm not ancient. I wouldn't even be dating a 24-year-old. I'm sorry. Not happening. You disagree with that, Santa, at 30 years old? My cutoff's 25, if I'm being honest with you. I think 25 is even young. You look like you were disgusted by that comment of mine.
I mean, we're talking about like relationship, or are we talking about,
I'm talking about a
enjoying your time?
Relationship.
2000! I
2000!
wouldn't cut 5-year difference. I wouldn't cut off
2000. That's for Bill Belichick at 73.
Whatever. What are you? 1995?
94. Still, I feel creeped out about that. That's me saying that. So how did the Belichick? All right, this is their dad. The kids see dad dating someone significantly younger than them. What the heck do you think they talk about? Thankfully, there's football at that Thanksgiving, and all these guys are busy with jobs. This got to be awkward for them. And no one could be happy about this. No one can be. Bizarre. I was talking with someone last night at the Knicks game. I won't say the person's name. And the person has daughters that are Jordan Hudson's age. I said, imagine if your daughter brought home a 73-year-old man and said, this is my boyfriend. He goes, wouldn't happen. And I go, like, okay, what happens if it did happen? He goes, it's not me they have to worry about. It's the mother. She was like, their mother, the mother of my children, the person said this to me, would not allow that. And she would talk that person out of the house. Oh, my goodness gracious. Anyway, we will delay Take 5 Wednesday. We'll do it later in the show. But this was on my Twitter feed. You had that during the break. I guess Steve Belichick's wife saying publicists act in a professional manner, don't storm off set, delaying an interview. Ooh, there's some tea there. That actually extends the story. Then, Antoine Staley, who covers the Jets for the New York Daily News, I believe. Yes, the New York Daily News. This is just an interesting back-to-back tweets that I saw. He quote tweeted UNC's statement about Bill Belichick's interview with CBS. Antoine Staley quotes tweets this and says, no NFL team is going to touch this circus. Hold on. Antoine, I love you. No NFL team would hire Bill Belichick because he has a 24-year-old girlfriend. I would say this. I don't think, if Bill was the coach of the Falcons, I'm not saying he can't date Jordan Hudson. Jordan Hudson ain't having this say. I'll tell you that. This could go on in college. But in an NFL organization, this would not be tolerated. She would not be able to have this much power. But the reason why I bring this up isn't just to kind of poke fun at Antoine's tweet, because to be fair, EJ said the same thing on the morning show. Where he's like, Bill Belichick shows every day why teams wouldn't hire him. The Atlanta Falcons still look good for hiring Raheem Morris over Bill Bleepin' Belichick? No chance. I'd rather have Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend, disgusting statement, than Raheem Morris as the head football coach of the Atlanta Falcons. That's number one. But think about this. This is why I'm bringing this up. These were the tweets back-to-back that I saw on my timeline. And it has nothing to do with Antoine. It was just his tweet. Antoine Staley covers the NFL saying, no NFL team is going to touch this circus. Right? That was one tweet. The tweet then that I next see on my timeline from JPA Football, trending. It's one of these aggregators. Former Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs has been training nonstop while in prison with the hopes of playing football again once he is released, Josh Jacobs told The Pivot, multiple teams could be interested in Ruggs upon his release. He could be getting out as soon as a year. First off, I understand a lot of times teams ignore off-the-field issues if a player's out of a jail cell or served his time and they bring a player back. If I'm running an NFL team, Henry Ruggs, you go kick rocks. You couldn't pay me enough money to employ him with what he did. That's number one. Number two, the timing of those tweets. Oh, you can't hire Bill Belichick in the NFL because he's a 24-year-old girlfriend. But someone that drinks and drives and kills someone, oh, yeah, no problem. Once he gets out of a jail cell, we'll easily bring that person in. Like, what world are we living in? But those were the tweets that I saw during the break. Bill Belichick's son's wife going after Jordan Hudson. Antoine Staley saying Bill Belichick basically is unhireable in the NFL, but Henry Ruggs. Ugh, Henry Ruggs. Can't stand him. Oh, when he gets out of prison, oh yeah, the NFL team could bring him in. Ay. What a world we live in.
It's going to happen, whether we like it or not. Someone's bringing him in.
You know what? Not me. If I'm running an NFL team, not me. And the guy hasn't played in, 4 years?
He's 26 years old.
Stop. There is no chance. Go find another line of work. If I'm running an NFL team, no chance I'm bringing that guy in. That's me. Other teams will do it. I am not doing it. If Zach Gelb owned an NFL team, no chance. Untouchable.
You know, we've said this about a lot of guys, and a lot of owners kind of make those exceptions. Michael Vick found other teams, and, variety of other guys you probably shouldn't have found other teams.
Not worth it to me.
Kareem Hunt has found other teams.
Once again, not worth it. Guy's been in jail for, 3 years? Not like, I'm not bringing him in. Not worth it. We don't even know how good the guy could still be on an NFL field. He should have probably never been drafted as early as he was anyway to begin with the Raiders. It's Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Leroy Butler, the inventor of the Lambeau Leap. He's going to join us in studio next. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Alrighty, rocking and rolling. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. What a treat this is right now to have an old friend of the radio program join us in studio. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, which is always nice to say. And obviously, he's a proud former Green Bay Packer. Go, Pack, go! And that is our pal, Leroy Butler. Leroy, how you been?
Every day of vacation. Every single day is a vacation. And for people out there that say, no, it's not, it is. Because if you let people know what bothers you, they'll do it every day. So my grandma told me that. Good to see you, man.
Well, it's great to see you, and I appreciate you coming on in.
You're taller than the last time I met you 4 or 5 years ago.
I don't think I've grown since then. I've
Yeah.
lost some weight, but I don't think I got any taller. But
No, I appreciate you because when we first met, it was organically. But the thing about you was you understand content.
Yes, that is true. People say that.
And I wasn't even in the Hall of Fame yet.
No,
I think I was.
If you recall, we were in Miami when we first met in person.
Yes.
And I
yes.
may have been standing in the middle of Radio Row
Yes.
yelling at all the voters.
Yes.
If you don't vote Leroy Butler in the Hall
Yes.
of Fame, I'm going to kick your
that's
ass
my
in the
guy.
streets of Miami.
That's my guy.
And
Yes.
shortly after that, you got in.
Yes.
Now, I didn't
Yes.
get to introduce you at the ceremony or
I'm
anything
sorry.
like that. Or I
Well,
didn't
it's
get
my
an
wife.
invite, but
It's my wife, Zach. You can get over my wife. It's good to see you.
We'll talk about August Allen, by the way, in just a little bit. But I saw you all over the draft in Green Bay.
Yes.
That was a pretty cool experience having the draft at Lambeau Field.
Zach, as you know, I only played for one team. Now, I remember back in the 90s, there's two things I thought we'd never get. Obviously, the Super Bowl ain't happening. The draft it's not happening. So I'm okay with that because, I think football, the legacy of the Green Bay Packers, we don't have an owner, as you know. We have shareholders. When Mark Murphy told me we're getting the draft, I said, you're going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Because it's the smallest market. People don't think, and we had 600,000 people there, Zach. And so I like to do a PSA, public service announcement. I want to thank Roger Goodell. That's my guy. I don't care what nobody say.
I'll be honest. Roger
Thank
Goodell,
you.
Hold on. Roger Goodell, I used to not be a fan. I used to not like him. I think he's the best commissioner in pro sports right now.
Because he has to juggle the owners and the players and the PA, Players Association. But here's a guy that gets it, that says two things can be true. Yes, we love the draft, but yes, this is a bucket list for people to come to Green Bay. And not only did we do an exceptional job, but the history of the Green Bay Packers were on display. And I lived there. Well, I live in Milwaukee.
Sure.
So to have the draft in my backyard was platinum.
And also, it was such a cool scene because
It
I
was.
feel like for years people go, when are the Packers going to draft a wide receiver in the first round for crying out loud? First time since 2002. And they take the speedster and Matthew Golden. But awesome moment.
Now, full disclosure, I told one of my best friends, Justin Hayes, my partner with August Allen, I said, this the year they're going to get a receiver.
Oh, so maybe I need
So
to
he's
get your draft intel.
Well, he's a tech.
Forget about Jax Olbrick and everyone going on with the Atlanta Falcons. I need to talk to you before the draft.
Yes, we should touch on that
What are
too
you in
later.
the Packers front office for crying out loud?
Well, no, I just thought that there's a few games that me and Justin talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The Philly game.
Yeah.
They had a couple injuries on the offensive line, and they had a couple injuries at wide receiver. So I'm thinking in full disclosure, as you know, I'm on the Packer board, but I don't know anything.
Maybe not.
This would seem the year. But I also thought they were going to get Brandon Ayuk going back in 2020.
Fair point.
But we got Jordan Love. Thank you, God. So you just don't know with these projections and things of that nature. But it just seemed like it's a good fit for Golden, who I met, by the way. And when Mark Murphy said after 23 years, the crowd went crazy.
It was awesome.
Zach, it was pandemonium.
It was deafening on TV.
Some people didn't even hear the name that he called. They were just so happy to get a receiver because we had Watson, our platinum receiver. He's hurt. We won't be back to the beginning of the season. So a receiver was right on point.
The inventor of the Lambeau Leap, Leroy Butler, in studio with us. We'll talk about August Allen in just a bit and appreciate Leroy joining us in studio today. You said thank you, God, about Jordan Love. You're all in with the 2 years that we've seen Jordan Love starting on the Packers quarterback.
1,000%. And here's why. When Matt LaFleur and Gutekunst, our GM, back in 2020, right in the pandemic, going into the pandemic, nobody could really thought what they were going to do. But these guys said to themselves, I was telling Melanie that coming up the stairs because I don't like elevators.
Yeah, Leroy, by the way, for folks that don't know, Leroy doesn't take the elevator.
I thought everybody knew that.
We're on the 10th floor.
I want them all taken out every building.
You walked up 10 flight of stairs.
Yeah.
You know, we should do social media content since I know content well.
Of course.
I'll jump on your back and you'll carry me up 10 flights of stairs.
Oh, hell no, I ain't doing that, man. You like 6'4", man, 200 pounds. You kill me. But it was just, we're going to get a quarterback. But Zach, they moved up to get him 4 spots.
Yeah.
So we traded a spot.
And many people thought it was unnecessary to trade up.
Of course. Aaron Rodgers just had a 4th MVP. Why would you do that? Get him some weapons. But again, 2 things could be true. I want to be good now and in the future. We don't want to be like some of these other teams that are always in the top 5, Chicago, that has these top quarterbacks. You got to get one when you don't need one. And that was, like you said, very unpopular. But people love the fact in the 3rd year, it's when quarterbacks take off. That's when Aaron Rodgers took off. That's when Brett Favre took off. So we expect Jordan Love to take off and be one of the best quarterbacks that he was drafted with. Look in 2020. the second-round pick. Jalen Hurts been to 2 Super Bowls, won one. So it just, you got to get a quarterback when you don't need one to develop him over a few years and then let him take off.
I know you're very close with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. What did you make of Shedeur Sanders falling all the way to the 5th round?
Well, here's the thing about that. I learned a lot from Deion. I learned about branding, and I learned about having the wherewithal mentally to know it ain't up to people to determine your future. So if you look at Shedeur, he was unbothered. He was disappointed. But they celebrated the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also said to myself, I thought it was always good to have your father in your life. How is that wrong? I thought it was okay when, the Manning boys, Eli, I don't want to go to the Chargers. I want to go to New York. Okay, fine. And I thought, for the most part, wherever he goes, he's going to make a difference. So I just wanted him to get his dream. And his dream was to get drafted. But also, you can look at it as Deion saying on camera, he wouldn't allow him to go to certain places. And teams are like, well, because it's embarrassing, Zach, if a team drafts you and you don't want to go there. It's really embarrassing. So they were thinking, well, we select him. It may be a circus. He may not even show up. It's not true. Because right before the draft, Deion said, hey, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with it. Paraphrasing, wherever he goes, we'll be happy. So I just like that, just because you're projected, it's just an opinion of teams where you should go. They don't necessarily know you're going to go there. There's no guarantee you're going to go top 5. I mean, just all the experts thought that he would go here. Then they kept saying he was going to fall. But I think the lesson learned from this, you need to just get an opportunity. But where he went, Zach, was a head scratcher. They got Gabriel. He's a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They got 5 quarterbacks in camp. Deshaun Watson said he's coming back. Flacco's there like their father. This guy's 200 years old. Flacco's a winner, though. So I just don't know how they can develop him. But after a while, they'll start to move guys. They'll either release guys. But I thought for sure the Giants would take him. They took Jackson Dart.
Yeah, in the 1st round, they traded back up to get him at 25.
That was a head scratcher. But, hey, they got 5 or 6 quarterbacks in their camp.
I'm curious about Coach Prime's future. Now, I know he signed that new deal at Colorado.
Yes.
We don't know about your alma mater with Florida State. I know they gave a long-term deal to Mike Norvell, but a lot changed within the last year.
Yes.
There's all these rumors about Coach Prime maybe going to the NFL one day. What do you think his future is as a coach? Could you see him one day coaching Florida State? Could you see him going to the NFL?
I think he's a college coach.
Okay.
I really do. It's a lot of college coaches, they love what they do. They don't really want to go to the pros. They want to teach and they want to help kids become men. When you get in the NFL, some guy on your team will tell you to go kick rocks. And you're like, but he's the star. And in the NFL, they get rid of coaches than star players. That's a circus.
Yeah.
But I think he'll stay at Colorado, put them on the map. Because he did. They went from one game winning to being a national powerhouse. And his recruiting is amazing.
Had a chance to go to the Big 12 championship last year, maybe go to the college football playoff, and came up small, unfortunately, up against Kansas. I agree with you. I hope he stays.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will. Because I think he wants to develop young men to become men. I appreciate that.
Now, let me ask you about Rodgers, then we'll talk about August Allen, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, Leroy Butler, in studio with us. I'm sick of Rodgers. At this point, I don't think that he's going to win a Super Bowl ever again, so I'm good if he calls it a career and retires. But ultimately, I think there will be drama, and I think ultimately he'll land with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that what you think?
2 things can be true. So I got a conspiracy, and I have what I believe is the truth.
Okay.
The conspiracy, which I don't like doing it because I actually go to church. I think he wants them to change the offense to his liking. That's why he's not there yet.
In Pittsburgh?
And Arthur Smith is the coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guess and a conspiracy.
Okay.
That's the delay. You got to change all this. Otherwise, why would you throw passes to DK and not have Pickens there with them? So it's like I'm developing chemistry with a random guy and happen to be on the team that I'm rooming to go to.
I'll tell you my conspiracy.
Oh, I want to hear it. What is it?
I think he's begging the Minnesota Vikings to finally just take him. That's what I think that
Well, they traded for Sam Howell.
Yeah, and they have J.J. McCarthy, but I think they're hoping that things don't go well and he'll just take a cheap deal in Minnesota and they'll come around. But I don't think Minnesota's going to take him.
Then he would be like Brett. So
get those Wrangler jeans on, too.
Before Sam Howell, I think it was some daylight there. But the truth of it is, let's be honest. If you're 41 years old, do you want to go to an off-season program?
No.
Hell no.
You want to go to Egypt? You want to go to a cave?
Out.
You want to do ayahuasca?
Yes. I want to go look for a rare beetle in the Amazon. Only I can find a beetle and take a selfie with it. Okay, I'll play now. Pittsburgh needs him, and he needs Pittsburgh for legacy. But if you're Mike Tomlin, I'm sure. Did you see when they asked Rooney about it? At the owners' meeting?
Oh, yeah.
He looked like he was passing a kidney stone when they asked. He was like, well, we're not going to wait too long, but
we're going to wait. We got no other options.
Dude, you're going to wait.
That's why they should have drafted Shedeur. They had multiple opportunities to draft Shedeur.
Facts. All facts. But your grandmother told you some things are too good to be true. It's not going to happen. If it's too much like right, it won't happen. But I just wish Shedeur would have went somewhere where they needed a quarterback and he can be the future, and it's a team that has good culture.
That would have been Pittsburgh. That's why I thought they were the perfect destination.
Pittsburgh or the Giants would have made sense. That's why I have to listen to these people think it's a conspiracy of him keep dropping and what's happening. It ain't got nothing to do with racism. It ain't got nothing to do with they don't like Deion. It's just that these people don't always get it right. That's why they're always in the top 10, Zach. Look at these teams. They're always losing organizations. They let people pass. I had the Houston Oilers shake my hand and say, we're going to take you number 16 in the first round.
Oh, my God.
When I got to their pick, I think the phone's going to ring. Crickets.
Huh.
So I sat back, and God saved me and sent me to the Packers. They don't always know. Their scouts are all over the place, and they don't always get it right. So what he got to do is go there and be focused. And we'll revisit this in a few years and say, why are these teams bad? Because they didn't get a quarterback like the Packers. We got us a quarterback.
Yeah, you guys had a quarterback for decade after decade after decade. Hall of Fame, Super Bowl, all that
Exactly.
stuff. All righty, let's do this. Justin is here. Justin, appreciate you coming on in. I know you guys got a bunch of stuff cooking with August Allen. Tell us what that is.
Well, the thing about it, me and Justin met with mutual friends. I was always a tech guy, but my grandmother say, stay in your lane. I like promotion.
I'm going to say, you're
talking,
a promoter.
I like doing it, but Justin had a brilliant way. People heard of AI. Mm-hmm. He brought in AR, and you basically developed me as a character to promote.
Huh.
So we did it for myself, the Leroy Butler experience. And we can make it the brains of it like me. Mm-hmm. Like the AI, you can ask it anything. Get me the nuclear codes. It'll get it for you and you'll go to jail. If you ask my character something nefarious like that, what will it tell you? Just like...
I would say, sorry, I don't know what you're talking
about.
Well,
I don't know nothing about it. I ain't going to jail.
Exactly.
I don't think you can replicate Leroy Butler, if I'm being honest. Right? I think that's a tough project for AI and AR. You know, the replicating you one-on-one, my friend.
Absolutely. And what's the difference between, because a lot of people don't even know that.
Between what? The
AI and AR?
Well, AR is basically the yellow line in NFL football when you look on TV.
Oh,
so that's
very
augmented reality because they're putting a yellow line there. Or the tracers in tennis or golf, things like that.
Yes.
So we're putting an AR avatar in what do you call it? What did I just say?
We put
augmented reality. So we're adding him in, he's not supposed to really be there. He's there. And then we created the AI part of him, recorded his voice, and now it sounds just like him. And
awesome.
We can
it
talk
looks
to
like
him.
me too.
It knows your name. It remembers, conversations.
It's kind of scary stuff, right?
Well, I wouldn't use...
Scary, cool stuff.
I wouldn't even use scary, because that's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Scary. But
I've had a few of those.
Stuff we all have. Trust me, my wife had some scary guys when she told them,
Yeah.
don't call me no more. I'm with Leroy Butler. This is a long time ago. But
So how do people check this out, by the way, if they want?
the best way to do it is go to LeroyButlerExperience.com.
Perfect.
Or you can go to AugustAllen.com.
AugustAllenAR.com.
Yes.
Or-
And if you're a company out there, we can develop it for you so we can market people. We did a big deal with Visit Milwaukee that we're doing, that Justin put together. So he's a perfect guy to do that.
So you guys going to keep Giannis in Milwaukee? You know,
Of course,
just
he ain't going
virtually,
nowhere.
and then he'll get traded to your Lakers or something
He
like
ain't
that?
going, don't do that.
Do you, the
Melanie,
first
this is when
time-
you're supposed to cut him off.
I had to yell at you.
You know I'm a Lakers fan.
I had to yell at you to keep Giannis
Yeah.
in Milwaukee. Now I think he's leaving.
I know he's not going anywhere. No,
Okay.
the city. Yeah,
He'll
it's
virtually be there.
unfortunate that Dame got hurt.
Terrible.
It got, but my Lakers are in trouble too.
Yeah.
So I'm not having a
That's a
good
lost cause.
time. But I'll blame
At
it
least you
all
got
on
Luka, though.
Gary. I'll
Yeah.
blame it all on Gary. I'll blame it on Boomer.
Yeah. Anyway, Justin, Leroy, always good to see you guys. Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you so
on
much,
in.
Zach. Always a pleasure, my brother.
You got it. We'll take a time out. This is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Coming on back after these short messages.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I would say the two pending biggest news items right now in the NFL is where Aaron Rodgers is going to land and, like, when does he sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers? And then also, will the Brock Purdy contract extension get done? Those are the two questions, the two big NFL questions right now. When will Rodgers to the Steelers happen? And when will the Brock Purdy contract get done that we just don't have an answer to? And I feel very confident in saying it's not a matter of if they get done, it's just when they get done. Purdy's going to get paid. Rodgers, if you tell me one of those two things aren't going to happen, Stu, would you agree with this? Rodgers going to Pittsburgh, Brock Purdy getting a contract extension. If you say one of those two things won't happen, I think both ultimately will. It's probably Rodgers not going to the Steelers just because he's a freaking wild card.
Yeah, wild card, could retire, could be holding out for another team. Yeah, I think Purdy will definitely get done.
Yeah, I like what Leroy said, though. Like, at this rate, he just don't want to go through probably much of the offseason calendar, which then, how effective is he going to actually be? This is not, oh, you're an offensive line. It's not, oh, you're Michael Strahan, just show up and go rush the quarterback, you'll be fine. This is the heartbeat of the team, the quarterback. Tom Brady was fighting through a global pandemic, and he was dragging receivers out to fields when they said don't see people to get his team ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's Rodgers once again half-assing it, to no surprise. Also, Leroy Butler's very close to Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. He was going through all the Shedeur landing spots that could have happened, and he said that the Steelers would have been the perfect destination. He then looks at the Giants and said, oh, that's questionable. Interesting that they ended up going Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. The Browns, he didn't seem too optimistic about them. Just because, right, the Browns always ruin quarterbacks anyway. They can never find their quarterback. And you got a lot of young quarterbacks on the roster. I know we kind of make fun of Kenny Pickett and you know, Dylan Gabriel's viewed as a high commodity, but there's questions about Shedeur Sanders now and what his ceiling could be. So if you're a fifth-round pick, Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick, Dylan Gabriel was a third-round pick, just based off pick, there's more expected out of Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel. Now, with that being said, I think context is important. I don't think any team but the Cleveland Browns had Dylan Gabriel going in the third round and their second quarterback on the board. And also, Kenny Pickett, yes, was a first-round pick, but now he's on his third team. So that loses the luster. My expectations are still the highest for Shedeur Sanders out of those three quarterbacks. So we'll go around the room here. Who is the team that will ultimately regret not taking Shedeur Sanders the most? Mine's the Steelers. What's the Steelers' long-term plan? What is their plan? Right? We've seen teams that have had quarterbacks, great quarterbacks. Brady with the Patriots. Drew Brees with the Saints. You look at other teams as well in the NFL where you get rid of the quarterback, and not everyone could be Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. There are teams that have a legend and then can't replace their guy. Like the Patriots, they went through Mac Jones, and now they have Drake May. I think Drake May could be their guy. The Saints, at least they took Tyler Shuck in the second round. I don't think they should have done that. I think they should have drafted Shedeur Sanders. But at least you're calling your shot. At least you're trying to get this done. For the Steelers, what have they really done? Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Yeah, they drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round, but Kenny Pickett, I don't think was ever viewed to be a better quarterback than what Shedeur Sanders could have been. So I think you could have got it would have been a wild dynamic. Imagine if you would have had all the hoopla surrounding Aaron Rodgers and then all the hoopla that surrounds Shedeur Sanders and you put them in the same locker room. That kind of would have been fun to follow. But it wouldn't have given Shedeur and Shedeur's camp the ability to demand to play right away if Aaron Rodgers in that locker room. And I kind of think Aaron Rodgers and Shedeur Sanders would have got along. I do. I think that in a weird way, I think the two of them would have got along. And I think Shedeur would have had enough respect to Aaron Rodgers. So I would sit here and say the Steelers messed it up the most because at least, even though I think Shedeur is better than Jackson Dart, at least the Giants identified their guy and they called their shot. The Saints, they identified their guy, they called their shot. I look at the Steelers, where is this going? You're going to bring in Rodgers for a year and then what? Your team is never bad enough where you're in position to go get a guy at the tippy top of the draft. So this was your moment to get a guy that I thought was a first-round talent. Some people said he was a second-round talent. No one thought he was going to fall to the fifth round. I know the Steelers didn't have an abundance of picks. Okay, so you make a move at 21. You get the defensive tackle. But then you had two other picks. You ended up taking a running back, and then you took Jack Sawyer. I would have much rather have used the pick on Shedeur Sanders, and you still could have brought in Aaron Rodgers. It wouldn't be using Shedeur in the first round. Then that probably precludes you from bringing in Aaron Rodgers. But you still could have brought in Aaron Rodgers. You have Mike Tomlin who knows how to manage distractions. Look at Antonio Brown, right? Antonio Clown. He was the ultimate distraction. And for the most part, things were kind of kept hush-hush, quiet, swept under the rug in Pittsburgh. So you're telling me Mike Tomlin couldn't manage the distractions that would come with Aaron Rodgers and Shedeur Sanders? And you could have got him later on in this draft? If I'm the Steelers, that's the team I think is going to regret him the most because I still don't know, even if you bring in Aaron, what ends up being your plan to fix the quarterback situation and find someone that you could feel may be the replacement to Big Ben one day. Stu, who's your team that you look back and you say, okay, that's going to be the team that regrets not drafting Shedeur Sanders the most when he was falling?
I'm actually going to go with my Raiders.
Fair.
They bring in Geno Smith, who is a fine quarterback, but he's probably a stopgap quarterback, so they don't have a guy for the future. And they had 7 opportunities to draft him.
Yeah.
They had three
in the third round.
3 in the third round. It's just 2 in the fourth round. So I was pretty shocked they did that. And nothing against Cam Miller from North Dakota State in the 6th round, but I don't think they found their guy to be the long-term answer quarterback. And you could have gotten him in the 3rd or 4th round, and that would have been.
Wait, they drafted a quarterback, the Raiders?
They did.
Who they draft?
Cam Miller, North Dakota State, 6th round, 215.
Is he going to be Carson Wentz? Is he going to be Trey Lance?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
So I think it's the Raiders.
There was another North Dakota State quarterback. Oh, the guy was on the Chargers. Oh,
Easton Stick?
Yes. Good job. Stu knows all the bum quarterbacks.
I know the North Dakota State quarterbacks.
Stu could be the bum quarterback expert.
Yeah,
they should bring you on the draft coverage. Anytime there's a bum, Stu, this guy's a bum. Oh, my God. People, I remember when I worked at SiriusXM NFL Radio, I think that was... people were raving about Easton Stick and the Chargers organization. Oh, they got to steal. They got to steal. All right. Was he? How long has he been there? Yeah, since 2019. That would line up. Oh, my God. He's now on the Falcons. Jeez. Easton Stick. I did not think we'd be talking about him today. But I agree with you. Like the Raiders, you know what? The Raiders are actually, they still have a lot to build. But you have Genty, you have Brock Bowers. That's 2 pretty good offensive weapons. The problem is, how long is it going to take you to find your quarterback? And Geno Smith, like you said, is a stopgap guy. And that's why I think there would have been no harm in drafting Shedeur. But they probably looked at it as, oh, Geno Smith is good. He's solid. But let's be real. Is Geno Smith the guy that's going to prevent people from saying, hey, Shedeur shouldn't play? It's not like you have Mahomes or Josh Allen there, or even a 40-something-year-old Aaron Rodgers where he just has the respect amongst the league. Sam, to who's the team? I take the Steelers. Stu takes the Raiders. I will ultimately regret not drafting Shedeur Sanders.
I'm going to go with the Steelers and the Raiders. No.
I have a list.
I have a list. No, I think it's the Giants. I think it's so obvious. I was fine with them not taking him 3 and going with Abdul Carter, but once they traded up and went with Jackson Dart, I think we've all said it. And listen, I don't watch tape the way some of these guys watch tape, but man, oh man, what I watched on Sundays to see Jackson Dart as a first-round pick to go over Shedeur, I've said it all along. Like guys with big arms and guys with all these measurables never work out the way that we expect them to. The Kyle Bowlers and the Jeff Georges. We're talking about a guy like Shedeur who's accurate, who's smart, who's dedicated, who understands defenses, who grew up around the game. Say what you will about being cocky, like. The best quarterbacks we've talked about over our lifetimes for the most part, Peyton and Brady, they didn't have the best arms. They were accurate. They were smart. They understood defenses. They understood playbooks. And at the end of the day, once you snap Shedeur in line, and maybe the slide will do that, the dude is going to be good.
Hey, here's the other thing, too. And I've watched a good amount of Jackson Dart. I still think the Giants should have let me be abundantly clear. The Giants should have taken Shedeur Sanders over Jackson Dart. Brian Daboll, those type of quarterback, is a Jackson Dart. A risk taker, aggressive, an all-or-nothing guy with some mobility as well. And Shedeur Sanders, I think that's a misnomer about him. He is mobile. He's just not a north-south runner. He's a sideline-to-sideline runner like Mahomes is, where he extends the play. But Jackson Dart, Stu, I don't know if I caught you off guard there when I clapped. Do you have any idea what the clapping is?
I got it after a minute. It was the Gruden Dart clap.
It's one of the most cringeworthy draft videos I've ever seen, where he stands up there. If Jackson Dart doesn't turn out to be good, that's what's going to get played. Just him standing up there looking like a doofus. Like, as he has a grin on his face, just we clap as that's the snap count. Oh, my God. I've watched that video 3,000 times. I did go and watch the entire Gruden interview. I'll tell you, I don't know why every quarterback doesn't do the Gruden stuff. Like, I guess Cam Ward didn't need to do the number 1 overall pick. Shedeur would have benefited from the Gruden stuff. I don't believe Will Howard or Jackson Dart will be successful NFL quarterbacks. I watch both those QB camps. They come off as so likable on there. I think Gruden does a really good job because he takes you through that process like we've never seen before. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Hey, Samter, by the way, before I get to Take 5 Wednesday, which we'll do on the other side, do you have these odds, the Belichick odds? Let's do that on the other side. So, Samter, I haven't read this article, but Samter, there are betting odds out there on how Bill Belichick and his girlfriend actually met. The story is it claims to be on a plane, but since Jordan Hudson's like, oh, we're not talking about that, now people are questioning if that's how they actually met on an airplane. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, Shedeur Sanders getting that prank phone call on draft day was not only a big prank, but also very expensive for the Falcons organization, which was fined $250,000, and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich was fined $100,000 for his son's actions, as he was the one that got Sanders' number off his father's iPad. Lots of baseball action today. This afternoon, Chase Dollander gets his second career win as the Rockies edge the Braves 2-1, as Dollander combining with the bullpen on a 3-hitter today. Javi Baez with a grand slam in the Tigers' 7-4 victory over the Astros today. And Colt Keith also going deep for Detroit, while the Cardinals blanked the Reds 6-0 as Miles Michaelis and the bullpen combined on a 3-hitter. Mason Wynn homered twice in the win for St. Louis. Right now, in the bottom of the 5th, it's the Padres in front of the Giants by a score of 3-0. Angels and Mariners even at 3 in the bottom of the 5th. And the Dodgers have just scored again and have extended their lead over the Marlins to 10-3. Freddie Freeman with his 5th home run of the season. Max Muncy also hitting his first, a 453-foot blast. I'm Rich Hacker.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie.
And this is Nick
From the Backstreet Boys.
And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
Alrighty, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Thomas in Indianapolis says, Zach, do you think the NBA needs to suspend Tyrese Haliburton's father from going to games, so ban him? You can submit a question by tweeting at INFSports or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I get the question because if that was like a regular fan, like if Stu ran onto the court and went nose to nose with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Stu would not only be in jail right now, he would never be able to go to any NBA stadium ever again. Because it's Tyrese Haliburton's father, probably not much will come out of this. But I don't think there needs to be a punishment. I think the guy's a dope. And what annoys me the most is Tyrese Haliburton usually doesn't get a lot of credit, and people usually try to take away from him. They called him the most overrated player in the NBA. He had a moment last night, and instead of talking about his son's moment and Tyrese Haliburton's moment, we're talking about his dopey dad. That's what we're doing. So I don't need to sit here and be like, oh, I'm outraged. Oh, you know, we need to suspend the father from going to games. It is what it is, folks. It was stupid what happened. It was idiotic what happened. I wish Giannis would have punched him, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, we need to have Tyrese Haliburton's father held accountable, and he needs to be banned from ever going to NBA games again. I'm just not going to do that. All righty, let's get to a little Take 5 Wednesday.
The football season might be over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
But don't you worry, there are still rankings to be made. So get ready as Zach gives you his top 5 in this week's special edition of Take 5 Wednesday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Alrighty, here's the topic today. The top 5 most shocking draft day slides. In at number 5, Laramie Tunsil. So 10 minutes before the draft started, his Twitter account posted a video of him doing a little gas mask. 10 minutes before the draft started. Remember, in the pre-draft process, at times, he was projected to be the number 1 overall selection at Tennessee. Then the Rams traded up. They got the number 1 overall pick. It ended up being Jared Goff. The Eagles also traded up twice to get the 2nd overall pick. They took Carson Wentz. But he was perceived to be at one point the number 1 player in the draft. And teams started taking him off the board because there's this gas mask video. So he's like, what's a big issue? Today, there'd be no issue about it. But back then, that's a big issue. And he ended up falling all the way to 13. Dan Marino in at number 4. We know the career Dan Marino did go on to have, but here are the quarterbacks that went before Dan Marino. John Elway, understandable. Todd Blackledge, former Penn State quarterback. Jim Kelly ended up obviously having a very good career. Hall of Famer. Ken O'Brien. Oh, Santa, that's got to hurt you. Kenny O'Brien in at 24. And then the Jets, Jets, who could have got Dan Marino. Ends up seeing Dan Marino go to the Miami Dolphins in at 27. So I have Dan Marino in at number 4. Brady Quinn. So Brady Quinn, in that draft, Jamarcus Russell was number 1 overall. It was expected. But Brady Quinn had a really good college career at Notre Dame. Now, there were some questions about Brady Quinn. I still thought most people thought Brady Quinn would be a top 10 pick. And him falling in the green room with that suit on and that hair, and it just looks like he's sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating. I felt really bad for him. Brady Quinn ended up going to 22. In at number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Here's why, to me, Aaron Rodgers is more shocking than Brady Quinn. Because Aaron Rodgers was talked about. That was a big debate. We knew that Jamarcus Russell in the Brady Quinn draft was going to be the number 1 overall pick. There was a big debate right up to the wire. Would it be Alex Smith or would it be Aaron Rodgers going number 1 overall to the San Francisco 49ers? So it's one thing where Aaron Rodgers doesn't get taken number 1 overall and ends up being Alex Smith. It's another thing where Aaron Rodgers falls all the way down to 24. So Aaron Rodgers in number 2. And then in number 1, I don't think this is in the moment. I don't think this is hot takey. You could have an opinion on Shedeur Sanders. I know he's very polarizing, right? And people could be like, oh, Shedeur is not as great as what you think. I think Shedeur's a good quarterback. I've always said that. Not great, good. And I understand some people having a second-round grade on him. But even if you didn't think Shedeur was going to be all that and you were critical of Shedeur, if I would have told you this time last week, and it would have been a day before the draft, that Shedeur Sanders wouldn't go in day 1, okay, fine. If I then would have told you he wouldn't go in day 2, you would have said I'm out of my mind. And if I would have told you not only would he go on day 3, but it wouldn't be in the 4th round, it'd be in the 5th round, you would say, Zach, if that's true, give me the lottery numbers tonight. So Shedeur Sanders, to me, is the most shocking draft day slide of all time. In number 5, Larry Tunsil. In number 4, Dan Marino. In number 3, Brady Quinn. In number 2, Aaron Rodgers. And in number 1, Shedeur Sanders. Now, we will do Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace. I will preface it by saying there is one omission I have here. That there was one in particular that I felt really bad about leaving off. We'll see if we address that, though, and Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace. Samter, what do you got?
Well, I'll start with our best friend, the guy who loves shaking my hands and staying around for full interviews with you. What about Mr. Warren Sapp?
So here's why I'm not shocked by it. It's the 5 most shocking draft day slides. Don't get me wrong. We all knew Warren Sapp was going to be a great player. But now knowing a lot about Warren Sapp, he's kind of a jerk. So I could see why he would rub people the wrong way or why people wouldn't believe in Warren Sapp, the person. Not the football player, but the person in the pre-draft process. That's why I didn't put him in the top 5.
And the main thing really was he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. It was that he tested positive or he was caught smoking weed, which nowadays it doesn't really even seem to matter.
Yeah.
But like for him to drop back and then us Jets fans cheering, we want Sapp, and then getting Kyle Brady. But that was one of the big ones that was shocking to me. Just because even if he fell off of 1 to like 3 or 4, I didn't think he'd go to like 12 or whatever he went to.
12, yeah.
How about Geno Smith? He was the best quarterback we thought in that draft. Only draft ever to not have a quarterback in the first round. He fell to the second round.
So it was surprising he didn't go in the first round. When I saw Geno Smith play at West Virginia, I never thought he was going to be all that. And for the first, 10 years of his career, he wasn't. And then he had this incredible career comeback where people wrote him off, but he didn't write back his line. So I just never really thought that Geno was really all that to begin with, is why I didn't include him there.
And we obviously know why he dropped, but Johnny Manziel went from being potentially the number 1 overall pick to going, 22, 24?
I always viewed Johnny Manziel, and I was rooting for Johnny Manziel because I just like what he brought to college football. I think a lot of people had their questions about Johnny Manziel as a pro quarterback and a lack of commitment, which obviously proven to be true.
A guy who's still in the league right now, some thought he could go number 1 or at least top 5, fell to the second round, Will Levis.
I thought he'd be a first-round pick just because of the way that he was hyped up, so I was surprised that he fell to the second round. But whenever I would watch Will Levis, and I had Will Levis on when he was at Kentucky on this network multiple times, I never thought that Will Levis was worthy of really being a top 5 pick, if I'm being fair.
This was a little bit different circumstances, but the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, obviously first openly gay player in the draft and in the NFL, Michael Sam, dropping to the 7th round despite being the SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, so I look back on when he was projected to get drafted. Some people said 3rd round grade, others said 4th round grade. To me, it wasn't. It was a moment, obviously, where I think where we were at in society then, it wasn't a good reflection and it wasn't a good moment for society, because I do think teams took him off that draft board because he was gay, and that's absolutely stupid in my opinion. Let me be abundantly clear. I just don't think it's as notable, really, because Sam didn't really do much, and I don't think that we talk about notable falls, usually guys that we thought could be first-round picks or so, and to me, Michael Sam was never considered to be a first-round pick.
And I'm guessing this might be the one that you are worried about leaving off your list. Randy Moss.
I hated it.
Who some thought was a top 2 or 3 talent in the draft, falling into the 20s because of character concerns.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There was just a reason why people were doubting Randy Moss. That's why, to me, it was top 5 most shocking. And people thought Moss was going to fall in the draft because of character concerns, and he eventually told everyone in the league, basically go shove it, because I think he's the 2nd or 3rd greatest wide receiver of all time in the history of the NFL. Obviously, Jerry Rice is the GOAT. All righty, let's take 5 Wednesday. Give me the odds real quickly here on why Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, or where Bill Belichick and his girlfriend actually met, because now people don't believe the story.
And even though Belichick came out with a statement confirming that they did meet on an airplane going to Florida, Bovada has some odds that are pretty funny. Leading the way, met on Tinder at -140.
I think it would be more Raya. I don't think Belichick's on Tinder. I would think it'd be more like private and celebrity, like a Raya app.
Okay. Not farmersonly.com. Number
Belichick
2.
going to start doing match commercials and also Viagra commercials.
There we go. Or hymns.
Yeah.
Met through Amanda Belichick, second at plus 550, tied with Met at a Bill Belichick Foundation event.
I can see the foundation event. I don't think Bill Belichick's daughter would be trying to set up Bill Belichick, her father with a 24-year-old.
A lot of times it's not the daughter trying to set them up. It's just like, they're around and, oh, by the way, your dad's cute. Let's just see what happens.
Amanda Belichick, though, is not like she's got to be in her 30s, late 30s, I would imagine.
I mean, if he can date someone 30, 40 years younger than him, 50 years younger than him, then Amanda Belichick can hang out with someone.
She's 41. I don't think she's hanging out with 24-year-old Jordan Hudson.
I hang out with 24-year-olds all the time. It's crazy. Met on Ashley Madison at plus 850.
Huh. Okay.
These two are very odd. Commissioned her for a henna tattoo or hired her as a dog walker at plus 1,200.
I take the dog walker one.
I like the henna tattoo.
Yeah.
Plus 1,500.
She thought she was going to walk a golden retriever. Then it was something else.
Something else. Plus 1,500 met on OnlyFans.
I'm not going to touch that one.
This one is funny. I enjoy. Plus 1,600 double date with Rob Gronkowski.
I thought you were going to say Robert Kraft. That would probably be in the better age of the girls that Robert and Bill look for.
And then speaking of Robert Kraft, met at Orchids of Asia Spa, plus 5,000.
Oh, no. I think they shut down. Maybe we'll send Stu there one day. All righty. Fun show today. Stu Sampson, thank you so much. Big thanks to Ryan Hickey, Dont'e Thornton Jr., and also Leroy Butler. And a big thanks to each and every one of you. I'm on vacation the next few days. We'll be back Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Enjoy, everybody. Appreciate you tuning on in. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.